Chapter 390. Cho Tsing-hui, what exactly do you want? In Tsing-hui's room, Lai Wuyang looked at Tsing-hui with a hint of suppressed sullenness and anger. Tsing-hui's expression was calm. My goal was very simple from the start. Dao vessel. I need enough Dao vessel. Dao carrying items. Not long ago, in the Great Sun Crystal transaction, almost all of the Dao carrying items in our Jin Wu religion were taken by you. Is that so? You said it yourself, almost. According to my understanding, among the 10 great sacred sects of the Eastern Wasteland, other than the Shinshao Sword Sect, the Limitless Sword Sect, and the Creation Mystical Sect, no one else has returned from the Heaven Wasteland for decades. As for those foreign merchant guilds that come once in a while, because of the war that broke out in the outer seas, they can't come close to the Eastern Wasteland. Every sect of the 10 great sacred sects has basically accumulated nearly 200 Dao carrying items, but in the last transaction, we didn't even have 100, 200? How is that possible? According to my estimates, our entire Jin Wu religion has less than 30 Dao carrying items. That's because your level isn't high enough. Not to mention that you're only the future leader of the Jin Wu religion. Even if you really become the leader of the Jin Wu religion, how would you know how many resources the various elders and families of the Jin Wu religion have? Not to mention, other than the elders, the Jin Wu religion should also have 1 or 2 hidden true energy realm experts. Lai Wuyang looked at Tsing-hui as his expression gradually turned fierce. Since you know that our Jin Wu religion has true energy realm experts, you should understand that our Jin Wu religion is not easy to deal with. In our entire Jin Wu religion, there are 3 true energy realm ancestors. One of them has not only condensed a saint battle body, but has also been cultivated by our Jin Wu religion to the level of a high-tier son of chaos. He also possesses divine arts, and once he uses them, even ordinary transcendent stage experts will have to avoid them. Although you, Cho Tsing-hui, are awe-inspiring overseas and have suppressed the Green Lotus Sword sect with your own strength, it won't be easy for you to humiliate our Jin Wu religion. Is that so? Do you want to know why, in front of the Hunyuan Heaven sect masters Wu Kunlun, as well as Tang Sun and Yuan Bei, the 2 true energy stage elders, the 2 true energy stage grand elders did not dare to say a single word during the entire process. Instead, they clapped their hands and cheered. Lai Wuyang frowned. She was also puzzled about this. Why? Jia Su's crime is that he colluded with the people of the Creative Evolve Profound sect to kill me. Among the experts of the Creative Evolve Profound sect that he colluded with, there was the true element stage elder Huang Long, Ao Feng, Shen Tu Gang, and Wang Fu Fu. Other than that, there were also 8 great prominent stage experts who brought along the Creative Evolve Profound sect guarding treasure, the Void Restriction Profound Formation. Huang Long. As the Jin Wu religion's holy maiden, Lai Wuyang naturally knew the top true energy realm experts of the Eastern Wilderness like the back of her hand. Let alone the true energy realm, she even clearly remembered the names, battle physiques, and techniques of every prominent saint stage expert. When she heard Tsing-hui mention Huang Long's name, her expression immediately changed. Huang Long is an expert who has condensed the Azure Dragon Saint body and possesses a sacred art. Ao Feng, Shintu Gang, and Wang Fu were all true energy realm elders who have condensed a saint-grade battle physique. In addition, the 8 prominent saint stage experts were in charge of the Void Restriction Mysterious Formation. The Creative Evolve Mysterious Sect actually sent out such a powerful lineup to kill you? And you were actually able to escape from such a desperate situation? Escape? Tsing-hui sneered. You think too highly of them. As the future leader of the Jin Wu religion, you should have the qualifications to mobilize your Jin Wu religion's intelligence department. Why don't you let those intelligence departments investigate in detail and see if Huang Long, Ao Feng, Shintu Gang, and Wang Fu are still alive? Huang Long, Ao Feng, Shintu Gang, and Wang Fu are still alive. When Lai Wuyang heard this, an uncontrollable expression of shock appeared on her face. She suddenly pointed at Tsing-hui, her white arm faintly trembling. You're saying, you killed all of them? That's right. Xing Hui indifferently replied, no matter how strong the three true energy realm experts of the Jin Wu religion are, how can they be stronger than Huang Long, Ao Feng, Shintu Gang, and Wang Fu? No matter how powerful the Jin Wu religion's eternal blazing sun is, as long as I don't face it head-on, how can it compare to the threat of the void sealing array? As such, whether or not I have the ability to suppress the entire Jin Wu religion by myself, you will know the result of this battle after a careful investigation. How is this possible? Lai Wuyang's face was pale, and a trace of sweat appeared on her pure white forehead. Her starry eyes no longer had the steadiness and confidence from before, and were instead filled with panic. As long as she investigated this matter, she would definitely find out the truth. It was impossible for Xing Hui to lie about this matter. Moreover, the actions of Tang Sun and Yuan Bei, the two grand elders of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, had strengthened her trust in this statement. I need a Tao vessel. No matter what method the Jin Wu religion uses, you must gather a Tao vessel with 100 Tao charms for me. Otherwise, I will use you as an excuse to interfere in the Jin Wu religion's matters and forcefully push you to the throne of the Jin Wu religion. Then, I will turn you into a puppet and control the Jin Wu religion. I will personally search for a Tao vessel in the Jin Wu religion. At that time, anyone who has a Tao vessel and is unwilling to hand it over, will be killed without question. No. Cho Xing Hui, you can't do this. In everyone's eyes, the two of us are a match made in heaven. Even if your parents, your family, and Nailan Fei have all acknowledged our relationship, you can't treat me and the Jin Wu religion like this. There are too many Tao vessels with 100 Tao charms. No matter what method I use, I can't gather that number. A little less, a little less. 50 Tao charms. Give me half a year, and I will do my best to gather a Tao vessel with 50 Tao charms for you. A Tao vessel with 50 Tao charms? Xing Hui shook his head. The reason you can't gather a Tao vessel with 100 Tao charms is because you don't know how many Tao vessels each clan has, right? This is simple, I can cooperate with you. How? I'm willing to take out a portion of Golden Crow's essence blood as bait and auction it in your name. Additionally, in order to ensure the so-called secrecy, this auction will be carried out in secret. Each cultivator can bid for this portion of Golden Crow's essence blood. The highest bidder will get it. That's right. Zhang Tai said as he looked at Zhang Tai with a solemn expression. Golden Crow blood essence. Golden Crow blood essence at the level of a saint. Furthermore, it's not a drop, but a portion. Lai Wuyang was slightly startled, and then his pupils constricted. A portion of Golden Crow blood essence. Xing Hui was already at the peak of the prominent sage stage. If he could refine this Golden Crow blood essence, then wouldn't he, naturally step into the true essence stage? He was only at the prominent sage stage, but his battle strength was already so powerful. If he reached the true essence stage, he would no longer have to worry about his lack of true qi. In the entire infinite wasteland domain, which force would be able to stop him from devouring? A portion of Golden Crow blood essence is too precious for your Jin Wu religion. After all, this Golden Crow blood essence can't be obtained in the infinite wasteland domain without 50 to 60 Tao charms. If it were to be sold in your Jin Wu religion, even according to the prices of the infinite wasteland domain, not many people would be able to afford it. Therefore, I'll give you a drop. Of course, this drop of Golden Crow blood essence is only a bait, and it's not really for you to use. Do you understand? Lai Wuyang looked deeply at Xing Hui. She knew that Xing Hui's Golden Crow blood essence was not a slip of the tongue, but intimidating. Intimidating her and making her understand the consequences if she dared to play any tricks. However, just the ability he displayed when he managed to escape from the encirclement of the 4 Green Ruins cultivators who had condensed the Saint-grade battle physique and 8 Vision Saint Realm experts with the banners of the Void sealing profound formation and how he killed all of them was enough to make Lai Wuyang extremely wary of him. Whether the essence blood of the Golden Crow appeared or not was no longer important. You want to use this drop of Golden Crow blood essence to estimate the number of Tao carrying items in everyone's hands? That's right. As the future leader of the Jin Wu religion, you have the status. Furthermore, you are only at the Spirit Chi Unity realm, which is enough to make those people feel at ease. Furthermore, we are using this kind of secret auction to carry out the auction, which provides them with enough secrecy. I believe that no one will hesitate. When Xing Hui said this, he seemed to have thought of something. That's right, the price of the Golden Crow blood essence is obviously very high. It seems that it is impossible to obtain it without more than 10 Dao runes. Especially in an environment like the Eastern Wasteland's Jin Wu religion, it would not be strange for it to be sold for more than 10 Dao runes. In order to prevent those people who only have a few Dao carrying items in their hands from feeling that they are not qualified to participate in this secret auction, I plan to add 1 divine weapon, 1 armor, and 1 flying sword each to ensure that all the Dao runes are collected in one go. When Lai Wuyang saw that Xing Hui had planned this matter so clearly, she immediately took a deep breath. I'm afraid that you already had this idea in your heart, right? In the past, I planned to take it slowly. But now, since I have this strength, why not be simple and direct? How can I believe that you will not continue to persecute our Jin Wu religion after obtaining the Dao carrying items? Lai Wuyang said in a low voice. You think too highly of your Jin Wu religion. Other than those Dao carrying items, do you think that there is anything in your Jin Wu religion that I would be interested in? Those so-called resources. I have the backing of the Almighty of the Heaven Wasteland domain. Why would I be interested in the resources of your Jin Wu religion? As for territory and experts, for me, the true energy realm is no longer considered an expert. After I have collected all the Dao carrying items in the Jin Wu religion, the Jin Wu religion has no value in my heart. When Lai Wuyang heard Xing Hui's words, she should have rejoiced, but for some reason, she felt even more humiliated. She, Lai Wuyang, was a famous beauty in the entire Eastern Wasteland domain. Countless people had gone to ask for her hand in marriage. Even the disciple of the creation mystical sect master, Dao Xuani, had personally come to propose to her. However, in the eyes of ordinary people, she, who was like a proud daughter of heaven, in front of Xing Hui, actually, as if she was nothing. This made her feel as if her self-esteem had been completely trampled on. Somewhat unwilling to accept this, Lai Wuyang bit her pink lower lip and said hatefully, I will agree to whatever you want me to do. Furthermore, I will do my best to do it for you. But I also have a request. What request? You must give the betrothal gifts to my Jin Wu religion and marry me. Chapter 391. Xing Hui's gaze fell on Lai Wuyang's body, his eyes carrying a trace of coldness. Do you think that you still have the qualifications? Why not? Lai Wuyang looked at Xing Hui's cold appearance and raised her neck like a proud swan, looking straight at Xing Hui. The reason why you said that I was your sweetheart in front of Nailan Fei and the other family members was to prevent them from pestering you over such trivial matters, right? If you really marry me, from today onwards, such matters will never happen again. You won't have to worry about your family members nagging you about such matters and disturbing you when you go out to do things. Furthermore, if you marry me, I won't interfere with your personal space in the slightest. No matter what you do, as long as you don't tell me, I won't take the initiative to ask. Even if you go out to seek pleasure, I will turn a blind eye to it. I can even cover for you when you need me. Furthermore, if you marry me, you can openly participate in the Jin Wu religion. In the future, if you have the intention to sweep through the Eastern Wasteland and become the ruler of the Eastern Wasteland, our Jin Wu religion will unswervingly stand by your side. When she said these words, her brain was working extremely fast, as if she had found a new way out of the Jin Wu religion. She no longer hesitated about her decision. Xing Hui looked at Lai Wuyang and frowned slightly. Although he was somewhat dissatisfied with this request of Lai Wuyang, he couldn't deny that what she said did make some sense. I have a detailed understanding of the relationship between you and your family. Putting aside Nailan Fei and Zhuo Yunqing, you don't have any feelings for your parents. If you insist on talking about feelings, it would probably be guilt. After all, you are the only son of your father, Zhuo Shuri. This guilt might come from being unable to continue the Zhuo family's bloodline. I can help you make up for this guilt and give birth to a child for you. In addition, I, Lai Wuyang, can point to the heavens and swear that from the day we get married, I will be faithful to you until the end of my life. I will never change my mind and will not bring you any trouble. I won't cause any trouble for you. Lai Wuyang seemed to have thought through something. Her star-like eyes no longer had the unwillingness and humiliation from the beginning. Instead, they shone brightly. You only need to give me a status, and I won't cause any losses to you. From today onwards, my body and heart will be completely given to you. No one will take it away from me. If I have any morals, I'm willing to die to show my sincerity. Is that so? Xing Hui looked at Lai Wuyang and asked indifferently, then, if there comes a day when I want to destroy the Jin Wu religion, which side will you stand on? Our Jin Wu religion will never be your enemy, Xing Hui. Lai Wuyang's words were firm. After a while, he said with an incomparably resolute tone, if such a day really comes, then there is only one possibility. I will already be dead. At that time, the survival or destruction of the Jin Wu religion will no longer have anything to do with me. Xing Hui looked at Lai Wuyang. However, Lai Wuyang did not back down either as he met Qing Su's gaze. Their gazes met, and they did not back down in the slightest. After a while, Xing Hui stretched out his hand and clapped. Well said. Then, Xing Hui, you mean, I understand your calculations. At the same time, if you do well, I can also let you get what you want. However, I have a condition. Speak. You can never step out of the eastern wasteland. Xing Hui said. In the end, Xing Hui wanted to find a long-term nanny for the Zhuo family. That was all. I promise you. Lai Wuyang said without hesitation. After Nailan Fei's vice sect master inauguration ceremony, I will ask her to go to the Jin Wu religion on my behalf to propose marriage. This matter will be handled by you. I don't have that much time to waste. Lai Wuyang's pretty face immediately bloomed with a smile. For a moment, it was like 100 flowers were blooming. In the next moment, she slightly lifted her bright red skirt and bowed to Xing Hui. Greetings, husband. Rise. Qing Su said, I don't believe you with just your words alone. Imprint a strand of your soul on me, and I will hand it over to the great being behind me. If you betray me when the time comes, you should know what will happen to you. Lai Wuyang only hesitated for a moment before handing over her consciousness imprint. As long as Qing Su did not lay his hands on the Golden Crow sect, there would be no conflict of interest between them. As a result, even though she would be under someone else's control, she felt that it was extremely worth it compared to the benefits she could obtain from gaining Qing Su's trust. Very good. Xing Hui accepted Lai Wuyang's consciousness imprint, and then took out a drop of Golden Crow blood essence from his personal space. He then took out a divine weapon, a set of armor, and a flying sword and gave them to Lai Wuyang. These are the treasures you will use as bait. As for this drop of Golden Crow blood essence, if you can complete this matter and obtain more than 100 treasures, this drop of Golden Crow blood essence will be yours. Treat it as a reward from me. Don't worry, husband. Wuyang will definitely not disappoint you. The half a year you mentioned is a bit too far away. I will give you half a month. Complete this matter in half a month. Half a month. Lai Wuyang bit her lips, and finally agreed. I will do my best to complete what you have entrusted me with. Then it's settled. Xing Hui settled this matter. Although forcibly conquering the Jin Wu religion could also obtain many treasures, but Xing Hui did not dare to guarantee that when the Jin Wu religion was in danger, there would not be people who would take the treasures and abandon the Jin Wu religion and directly flee. If such a situation really occurred, and he lost the treasures for no reason, then it would be too late for regrets. The broken sword will come to Heaven Wasteland in less than a year. There is not enough time. Xing Hui muttered to himself. Among the 10 great sacred sects, the Limitless Sword sect and the Creative All Mysterious sect were the last forces to be conquered. As for the Shinshao sword sect, because a disciple had returned, that disciple must have taken many treasures with him when he left. The treasures that could be left behind were likely to be of very low value. Since the Jinwu religion and the Green Lotus Sword sect had already been conquered, it was only a matter of time before the Hunyuan Heavenly sect collected a wave of treasures. Then, only the Pharaoh sect, the Giant Dragon Mountain Range, the Six Paths of God and Demons, and the Qinkuan Sacred Land were left. I remember that besides the Shinshao Sword sect, the Hunyuan Heavenly sect's enemy is the Six Paths of God and Demon. This is a direction to attack the Six Paths of God and Demon. In addition, the Jinwu religion is bordered by the Giant Dragon Mountain Range, and the Green Lotus Sword sect is bordered by the Pharaoh sect. The two sects are bordered by each other, so naturally there will be some fighting and killing, and hatred will accumulate. However, because the Creative Mysterious sect has been like the sun in the sky for the past few hundred years and has constantly grown stronger, even if there is hatred between the many sects, they have no choice but to temporarily suppress it and unite to resist the threat of the Creative Mysterious sect. Xing Hui carefully analyzed the situation of Heaven Wasteland and already had a plan in mind. After the Green Lotus Sword sect and the Jinwu religion's treasures were collected, he would directly let them advance towards the Pharaoh sect and the Giant Dragon Mountain Range under the guise of resisting the Creative Mysterious sect. As for the Creative Mysterious sect, very soon, there would be no time to realize his ambition of unifying the Eastern Wasteland. While Xing Hui and Lai Wuyang were discussing, Neilan Fei also returned from where Tang Sun, Zhuo Kunlun and the others were. However, she was still a little dizzy on the way back. In this Deputy Sect Master appointment ceremony, she would not only become the Deputy Sect Master of the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect, but also be confirmed as the successor of the next Sect Master. Next, she could call herself the young Sect Master of the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect. But what made her feel even more incredulous was the inside story of the battle between Xing Hui and the Creative Mysterious sect. Earlier, she had only heard Qing Su mention that Jie Su had colluded with the experts of the Creation Mystical sect to kill him. Moreover, he had mentioned it so casually that she did not take it to heart. However, after a detailed discussion with Tang Sun, Yuan Bei, the sect master of Zhuo Kunlun, and so on, she discovered to her shock that the attack on Qing Su was actually so dangerous. The Creative Mysterious sect's 4 true energy boundary experts and 8 prominent sage experts had attacked him at the same time. What made her feel even more incredulous was that Xing Hui had actually successfully killed the 4 true energy boundary experts and 8 prominent sage experts in one fell swoop. Until now, she still hadn't recovered from the shock of the news. So much so that when she met Xing Hui and Lai Wuyang, who had just finished their discussion and came out of the room, she did not care whether Lai Wuyang was present or not and impatiently asked, "Xing Hui, is what Grand Elder Tang Sun and Grand Elder Yuan Bei said true? Did you really kill the 4 true energy boundary experts and 8 prominent sage experts of the Creative Mysterious sect? You even seized the Creative Mysterious sect's ultimate treasure, the Void Restriction Mysterious Formation flag?" Xing Hui smiled and nodded. How can it be false? Speaking of the Void Restriction Mysterious Formation flag, Xing Hui directly took out the 4 chess pieces. These are the flags of the Void Restriction Mysterious Formation. Although these flags can be used directly, it's best to grasp some knowledge of formations. The deeper one's understanding of formations, the better they can display the power of these 4 level 10 divine armaments. Although the Hunyuan Heaven sect does not have any high-level formations, there should be people in the sect who have studied formations. Use your authority to transfer them to Qinglan Peak and let them control these 4 flags for you. With the protection of this Void Restriction Mysterious Formation, Qinglan Peak can truly be said to be impregnable from now on. Void Restriction Mysterious Formation flag. This is one of the Creative Mysterious sect's ultimate treasures. Neilan Fei's eyes lit up as she hurriedly examined the 4 flags. Lai Wuyang's figure swayed. The Creative Mysterious sect's ultimate treasure, the Void Restriction Mysterious Formation flag, has been seized by my husband. At this moment, she no longer doubted Xing Hui's words. Husband. Naylan Fei, who was looking at the Void Restriction Mysterious Formation flag, quickly noticed something and turned her gaze to the two with a smile on her face. Since he had already planned to use this method to control the Jin Wu religion, Xing Hui did not hesitate and said, "We have already discussed it inside. Aunt Naylan, as my elder, please go to the Jin Wu religion and send the betrothal gifts for me. I believe that with my current status, Sect Master Zhu Xian and Shakyamuni Lai Ji should not refuse. After Aunt Naylan's inauguration ceremony is over, I will also return to the Jin Wu religion and persuade the sect master and my father to agree to our marriage." Lai Wuyang added from the side. When Naylan Fei heard this, a smile suddenly appeared on her face. "Okay, leave this matter to me. I will definitely handle it properly for the two of you." Xing Hui, I didn't expect that in the blink of an eye, you have already reached the time to start a family. I believe your parents will be very happy when they hear this news. Then I'll have to trouble you. Chapter 392. In the direction of the Chongguang Peak, a majestic aura swept across the mountain peak. Even though the Chongguang Peak was sealed, the aura still leaked out and was immediately sensed by the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Grand Elders. This is the Chongguang Peak. Someone on the Chongguang Peak has broken through to the prominent domain stage. It must be Bei Shangguang. I didn't expect Bei Shangguang to reach the prominent domain stage at such a young age. Good, this is great news. Our Hunyuan Heaven Sect now has another prominent domain expert. After sensing the aura, joy appeared on the faces of the Grand Elders one after another. They were sincerely amazed by the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's growing strength. Even Zhuo Kunlun revealed a look of joy when he sensed the aura. The last prominent domain Grand Elder of our Hunyuan Heaven Sect was born 13 years ago. In these 13 years, besides Grand Elder Xing Hui, no other native Grand Elder has appeared. But now, after 13 years, Vice Sect Master Bei Shangguang has finally taken that crucial step. After speaking, he said to the Hall Master of the Circumference Hall, Bei Shangguang has just broken through to the prominent domain stage. He should need to consolidate his cultivation in the next dozen days. Once he's done, send someone over to congratulate him. The Hall Master of the Circumference Hall was a Hall Master in charge of planning the elders' positions. Due to his great authority, he was usually personally managed by the Sect Master and would follow the Sect Master at all times. Yes, Sect Master. Hall Master Fang Yuan respectfully acknowledged, but a moment later, he seemed to think of something and suddenly frowned. Sect Master, Vice Sect Master Bei Chongguang is not even 100 years old yet. To reach the Vision Saint stage before the age of 100, his talent can be said to be one of a kind. Logically speaking, he is completely qualified to take over the position of Sect Master of our Hunyuan Heaven Sect, but you and the Grand Elders have already discussed that Naylan Fei will take over as Sect Master of our Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Vice Sect Master Bei Chongguang already has some conflict with Grand Elder Qing Su, so if he encounters something like this again, I'm afraid. Zhuo Kunlun's expression changed when he heard Hall Master Fang Yuan's reminder. He immediately said, "Put down what you're doing immediately and go to the Chongguang Peak to wait for Vice Sect Master Bei Zhongguang to emerge from seclusion. Once he emerges, tell Vice Sect Master Bei Zhongguang about the Qing Su Great Elder as soon as possible. Tell him not to offend the Qing Su Great Elder because of his rash words, or he'll probably become the next Sever Void." Yes. Hall Master Circumference acknowledged and was about to turn around and leave. Wait. Let Grand Elder Yuanjue go with you to prevent Bei Shangguang from doing something stupid on impulse. The Grand Elders have already understood the truth behind Grand Elder Xing Hui's battle with the 12 great experts of the Create Evolution sect. He will let Bei Shangguang make the right choice. Yes, Sect Master. Chongguang Peak. Everyone on the Chongguang Peak, who had been sealed off for nearly 2 years, was overjoyed when they sensed the majestic aura that soared into the sky. Good. Great, Peak Master has finally condensed a battle body and broken through to the prominent domain stage. Prominent domain stage. Once Peak Master reaches the prominent domain stage, his status will be higher than the strongest competitor for the Sect Master's throne, Severing Void. He will definitely be able to turn the situation around and become the biggest winner in the competition for the Sect Master's throne. Recently, there have been rumors in the sect that the Sect Master intends to appoint Nalan Fei as the future Sect Master. Nalan Fei has just broken through to the Azure Netherworld stage, so how can she become the future Sect Master of our Hunyuan Heaven sect? In terms of qualifications and cultivation, which one of the Vice Sect Masters of our Hunyuan Heaven sect isn't stronger than her? I, Bei Changkong, will be the first to refuse to accept her as the Sect Master. Ha ha ha, in the past 2 years, we have endured humiliation on the Chongguang Peak. Almost half of the originally talented Chongguang Peak have left. Fortunately, our Chongguang Peak is finally going to welcome the dawn today. When Peak Master Beishangguang snatches the future Sect Master's throne from Nalan Fei with an invincible prominent domain stage cultivation, I want to see what will happen to those who have left in a short period of time. Amidst bursts of ecstasy, everyone looked in the direction of Beishangguang's closed-door cultivation. And Beishangguang seemed to be in a hurry to announce to the world that he had broken through to the prominent domain stage. After stepping into the prominent domain stage, he consolidated his cultivation a little. In less than 2 hours, he had already turned into a stream of light and whizzed out from his closed-door cultivation. The aura of his powerful yet unstable battle constitution swept out from his body without restraint. It was vast and mighty, and the entire Chongguang Peak seemed to tremble under his great pressure. Prominent domain stage, this is the true prominent domain stage. Too powerful. Could it be that the Sect Master has cultivated a saint-grade battle constitution? Sect Master Bei Chongguang only released his own aura, but it actually made it hard for me to breathe. As expected of a prominent divine expert who reached the heavens in a single step. Right now, he has already left us old fellows far behind. The Sect Master is mighty. The cultivators of the Chongguang Peak shouted excitedly at the same time. Their voices were filled with uncontrollable surprise. Who? Bei Zhongguang, who had displayed his strength without restraint, let out a long sigh, and slowly retracted the powerful aura of his battle physique as he was running out of energy. I, Bei Zhongguang, have finally taken this step and condensed a battle constitution. I have stepped onto the highest level of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Bei Zhongguang slowly spoke, his voice filled with a heavy and deep feeling. Sect Master. Greetings, Sect Master. Congratulations to the sect leader for achieving great success. The various Chongguang Peak elders simultaneously came forward and bowed with tears in their eyes. But after Beishangguang's gaze swept across the crowd, his expression darkened slightly. Why are there only a few of you here? Changkong, where's Yunjian? Where's Ming Shao? Changkong stepped forward with a sorrowful expression. Yunjian and Ming Shao have already left. Although Changkong wanted them to stay, those two are heartless and unscrupulous. They shamelessly boasted that there was no hope for them to follow Sect Master and insisted on abandoning Sect Master. They really deserve to die. Left? They actually left? A cold light flashed in Beishangguang's eyes, and the pressure on his body grew even heavier. Yunjian and Ming Shao, how dare they betray me? But I believe that they will soon regret it. I have already broken through to the prominent divine stage, and my battle constitution is less than 100. I have already stepped into the peak of the immortality stage. What kind of talent is this? The Sect Master's throne of the Hunyuan Heaven sect is already mine. Sect Master's talent is unparalleled, and your cultivation is heaven-defying. What Jiesu? What Nalan Fei? None of them are your match. Several followers and elders of the Spirit Chi Unity stage roared in excitement, and their eyes were filled with fanaticism and worship as they looked at Beishangguang. Sect Master, if you want to compete for the Sect Master's throne of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, you have to do it quickly. I don't know why, but the Sect Master and the elders have decided to appoint Nalan Fei as the next Sect Master of the Hunyuan Heaven sect after a discussion. This matter seems to be more or less discussed, and it should be fully announced at Nalan Fei's Vice Sect Master appointment ceremony tomorrow. Bei Changkong said anxiously. Nalan Fei. She has broken through to the Azure Netherworld stage and is qualified to become the Vice Sect Master of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Moreover, the Sect Master and the Elders plan to let her become the young Sect Master of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect and inherit the Sect Master's throne in the future. Bei Shangguang's expression turned cold, and the aura that had yet to become powerful suddenly erupted from his body, sweeping out a vast expanse of yuan qi. Nalan Fei. Who does she think she is? She is just an ordinary disciple who relied on Chotsing Hui's glory to achieve what she has today. What qualifications does she have to compete with me for the Sect Master's throne of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect? Let alone her, even Chotsing Hui behind her will have to cooperate with my orders after I become the Sect Master of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. The Grand Elder Council is an organization that specializes in assisting the Sect Master in managing the sect. Strictly speaking, Chotsing Hui will become my subordinate. What does she have to compete with me? After speaking, his gaze fell on Bei Changkong, and he said with a fierce expression, "Isn't she going to hold the inauguration ceremony tomorrow? Let's go directly to Qinglan Peak now. I want to see if she has the courage to accept the position of young Sect Master in front of me, a Vice Sect Master of the prominent Saint stage." Okay. As long as the Sect Master gives the order, we will not hesitate to go through water and tread on fire. Bei Changkong promised. In his eyes, the Chongguang Peak seemed to have regained the glory of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's first peak. It should be known that before Jia Su broke through to the Qingming stage, Bei Shangguang was the only candidate to succeed the Sect Master of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. At that time, the Chongguang Peak was a holy land in the hearts of all disciples. Every true disciple hoped to join the Chongguang Peak and become a member in hopes that Bei Shangguang would soar when he became the next Vice Sect Master of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. It was not as cold and cheerless as it was now. Bei Shangguang, Sect Master, we have to consider this matter at length. I heard that Xing Hui seems to have done something extraordinary, so much so that the Sect Master did not stop him when he personally killed the Jiasu saint. Don't you think we should investigate clearly first? At this moment, an old man of the Spirit and Qi Unite stage cautiously suggested. Jiasu is dead. Bei Shangguang's eyes were a little surprised. He is indeed dead. He was killed by Xing Hui. It is said that he colluded with the people of the Create-Evolved Mysterious Sect to ambush Grand Elder Xing Hui. Therefore, Grand Elder Xing Hui personally killed him. Bei Shangguang could not help but frown when he heard this. He knew very well how important Jia Su was in the hearts of Zhuo Kunlun and the other higher-ups of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Even if he really colluded with the Create-Evolved Mysterious Sect to frame Xing Hui, he would not be killed on the spot, right? Bei Changkong saw the hesitation on Bei Shangguang's face and immediately said anxiously, "Sect Master, are we still going to Qinglan Peak? If there are no accidents, Nalan Fei will be confirmed as the next Sect Master of our Hunyuan Heaven Sect tomorrow." Bei Changkong's words immediately made Bei Shangguang's expression turn cold. He did not have time to think as he suddenly waved his hand and said, "Jia Su is just Jia Su. He is just a little brat who relied on the divine art to fight against a prominent saint stage expert. Moreover, he committed the grave mistake of colluding with the Create-Evolved Mysterious Sect to kill the Grand Elder. I have already become a true prominent saint stage expert and have made countless contributions to the Hunyuan Heaven Sect over the years. How can Jia Su compare to my status? Let's go to Qinglan Peak. I must let everyone in the Hunyuan Heaven Sect know that I, Bei Shangguang, am the true candidate for the next Sect Master of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. No one can change this." Chapter 393. Yes. Sect Master is right. We'll follow Sect Master's orders. The various elders and followers were shouting loudly, their spirits excited. They had been cooped up in the Chongguang Peak for nearly 2 years. During this period of time, they had been in seclusion, which formed a huge psychological gap compared to when Bei Chongguang was the first deputy sect master. At this moment, they all wished they could immediately announce their existence to the Hunyuan Heaven sect and announce that their backer, Bei Chongguang, had reached the prominent divine stage and had returned like a king. In such a fanatical and impatient atmosphere, even the few people who had calmed down could not say anything and could only go with the flow. Then, let's get ready. We'll head straight to Qinglan Peak and pay them a visit. Bei Chongguang's eyes were filled with confidence. When he said the word visit, his tone was extremely heavy. As for the others, they naturally understood what the so-called visit meant without needing him to explain. Every one of them revealed a slightly sinister smile. Wait a moment. Unfortunately, before the Chongguang Peak crowd could gather, a loud shout sounded from the void. Immediately afterwards, the hall master of the circumference hall and Grand Elder Yuanju flew over on their swords and stopped at the peak in the blink of an eye. Seeing Bei Chongguang, who did not even have time to consolidate his cultivation base, and the Chongguang Peak crowd, who were clearly sharpening their weapons, the hall master and Grand Elder Yuanju clearly thought of something, and their faces darkened. What do you want to do? Grand Elder Yuanju. Bei Chongguang did not dare to be too presumptuous when he saw Grand Elder Yuanju. He bowed slightly, but because he had also broken through to the prominent divine stage, he felt that he was on the same level as Grand Elder Yuanju. Although he maintained sufficient etiquette, he did not appear too respectful. It's nothing. I just heard that junior sister Nailan Fei has broken through to the Emerald stage and is about to be conferred the title of Deputy Sect Master of our Hunyuan Heaven sect. So, as her senior brother, I naturally have to pay a visit and congratulate her. It can be considered as being a good host. Pay a visit? Congratulate? I don't think it's just a simple visit. Grand Elder Yuanju took a look at these Chongguang Peak followers who were ready to go out and cause trouble, and couldn't help but secretly rejoice that he had come quickly. He then turned to Bei Chongguang and said solemnly, "Come with me, I have something to discuss with you in private." Elder Yuanju. If you have something to say, why don't you say it later? Wait a moment. I'm afraid that you'll cause a huge disaster later. Elder Yuanju said sternly. Although Bei Chongguang did not agree, if he wanted to become the sect master of the Hunyuan Heaven sect in the future, he would still need the support of these grand elders. Hence, he did not want to offend Elder Yuanju, so he simply nodded and said, "What else can there be? It's just that Chou Tsinghui. I've already stepped into the prominent domain stage. Compared to Chou Tsinghui, I'm not that far off, right? Not that far off. Your understanding of the great elder of Qing Su is still the same as 2 years ago when he fought against 2 prominent saint experts without falling into a disadvantageous position, right?" Elder Yuanju sneered. Bei Chongguang nodded, but a moment later, he seemed to hear something from Grand Elder Yuanju's words, and his expression changed slightly. Could it be that Chou Tsinghui has also broken through? He has stepped into the prominent domain stage. If you can condense a battle body and step into the prominent domain stage, why can't he do the same with his astonishing cultivation speed? Prominent domain, he has also reached the prominent domain stage. Bei Chongguang's expression was rather ugly. What grade of battle body did he condense? It's the Golden Crow Divine Body. Elder Yuanju said in a low voice. These 4 words made Bei Chongguang's body sway. Golden Crow Divine Body. Tsinghui had actually cultivated a divine grade battle body. If Tsinghui was only at the Azure Netherworld stage, Bei Chongguang would not be too worried even if he had the strength of 2 prominent domain experts. After all, competing for the sect master's throne did not rely on violence, but on influence in the sect. However, Tsinghui had not only stepped into the prominent domain stage, but he had also stepped into the prominent domain stage with the Golden Crow Divine Body. It's fine if he only stepped into the prominent domain stage with the Golden Crow Divine Body. You just came out of seclusion and might not know, but 2 days ago, Tsinghui returned to the sect and directly killed the Hunyuan Heaven sect's chosen, Jia Su, in front of sect masters Wa Kunlun, Tang Sun, and Yuan Bei. I heard about this matter. Jie Su colluded with the creative all-mysterious sect to kill Tsing Hui, which angered Tsing Hui. He ignored the sect master's obstruction and killed Jie Su. Ignored the sect master's obstruction. I can tell you clearly that the sect master and even the two grand elders, Tang Sun and Yuan Bei, did not stop him at all. How is that possible? The sect has invested more energy into Jie Su than any other disciple in the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Even if he committed the grave mistake of colluding with the creative all-mysterious sect to kill Cho Tsing Hui, the sect master would not watch Jie Su be killed. Why is it impossible? Don't you want to know which creative all-mysterious sect experts Jie Su contacted and how Cho Tsing Hui resolved the crisis? Bei Chongguang could faintly feel that the situation in the Hunyuan Heaven sect had changed greatly in less than 2 years. He no longer dared to have the slightest arrogance of forming a battle body and stepping into the prominent domain stage. He respectfully bowed to Grand Elder Yuan Ju. Please tell me, Elder. I'll say a few names, and you'll have a rough idea. Huang Long, Shen Tu Gang, Ao Feng, Wang Fu. As the first vice-sect master of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, Bei Chongguang knew the peak figures of the creative all-mysterious sect like the back of his hand. When Elder Yuan Ju said these names, he could not help but scream, Huang Long. Huang Long, who has formed the Azure Dragon Saint body of the 6 Saint battle bodies. Huang Long of the creative all-mysterious sect has not only reached the true origin stage, but is also said to be a high-level son of chaos. Shen Tu Gang, Ao Feng, Wang Fu, and the others are all true origin stage experts of the creative all-mysterious sect who have formed a saint-grade battle body. Even in the entire creative all-mysterious sect, they are all ranked in the top. Cho Tsing Hui was surrounded by these people and not killed. Dead. Next, it's time for me to tell you how he resolved this crisis. The method he used to resolve this crisis is very simple, and that is, to kill all 4 true origin stage experts of the creative all-mysterious sect who have formed a saint-grade battle body, as well as the 8 prominent divine stage grand elders of the creative all-mysterious sect. When Yuan Ju said this, his mind seemed to still be filled with the shock of receiving this news yesterday, and he could not help but shudder. As for Bei Chongguang, he was completely stunned by the news brought by Grand Elder Yuan Ju. He stared blankly at Grand Elder Yuan Ju. It took him a while to recover from the shock of this news. It's unbelievable just thinking about it. If the Grand Elders had not personally told me this news, I would have thought that someone was joking with me. This was not the first time that Temple Master Fang Yuan had heard this news, but every time he heard it, he could not help but be shocked. After a long while, Bei Chongguang finally regained his senses and asked in a daze, Elder, is this all true? Grand Elder Tsing Hui, he really killed the 4 true origin stage experts of the creative all-mysterious sect who have formed a saint-grade battle body and the 8 prominent divine stage grand elders? Unbelievable. Who isn't like that? Now you probably understand why the sect master, Grand Elder Tang Sun, and Grand Elder Yuan Bei did not dare to stop Tsing Hui from killing Jie Su. Bei Chongguang could not help but shudder when he heard this. Who would dare? Who would dare to stop him? He was a fierce person who could kill 4 true origin stage experts of the creative all-mysterious sect who had formed a saint-grade battle body. Who would dare to stop him? Once such a fierce person was angered, the entire Hunyuan Heaven sect would be turned upside down by him alone. It seems that you already understand. Grand Elder Yuan Ju looked at Bei Chongguang, whose face was faintly pale, and sighed softly. Since you understand, you should know that if you really went to Qinglan Peak and accidentally angered Grand Elder Tsing Hui, your fate would not be any better than Jie Su's. Even if you end up like Jie Su, no one in the Hunyuan Heaven sect will stand up for you. How can this be? How can this be? I have already broken through to the prominent divine stage and become one of the top experts in the Hunyuan Heaven sect. How can this be? Bei Chongguang's eyes were filled with unwillingness. Apart from unwillingness, there was also a trace of fear in his eyes. Some people are destined to make us look up to them again and again. Unfortunately, your opponent, Grand Elder Tsing Hui, is such a person. Therefore, if you don't want your hopes to be met with despair again and again, it's best to forever hide the trace of unwillingness in your heart. Otherwise, there will be a day when you will bring a fatal disaster to yourself because of so-called face or so-called self-esteem. At this point, Grand Elder Yuan Ju stood up and patted the shoulder of the vice sect leader whom he had high hopes for. Take care of yourself. He then turned and left. Hall Master Fang Yuan also cast a pitiful glance at Bei Chongguang before leaving. Of all the people to be his opponent, he had to choose Grand Elder Tsing Hui, who was so monstrous that words could not describe. What else could he do but ask for trouble? A long time after Grand Elder Yuan Ju left, Bei Chongguang was still standing there in a daze until Bei Changkong carefully came to him with the prepared people of Chongguang Peak. He asked, Lord, everyone is ready. Do you think it's time for us to depart from Qinglan Peak? Bei Chongguang came back to his senses in a trance. His eyes fell on Bei Changkong's expectant face and the followers behind him. After a long time, he sighed and waved his hand weakly. Let the others disperse. Changkong, you and I will prepare a generous gift. We will go to Qinglan Peak to congratulate junior sister Nailan Fei. Chapter 394. Chaos Temple. In the personal space of Dao Xuani, the sect master of Create Evolved Mysterious Sect. At this moment, Dao Xuani, the transformative elders Dao Bian, Dao Keming, and Fan Tian, the four core experts of Create Evolved Mysterious Sect, stood on an altar in this personal space and waited quietly. Their expressions were filled with humility and respect. After a while, these elders who had reached the peak of transformative realm seemed to have sensed something. They suddenly raised their heads and looked toward the center of the altar. All of a sudden, a terrifying pressure so powerful that it made people tremble emerged from the altar. Accompanied by the appearance of a figure, a powerful spirit pressure completely erupted. Even in the special environment of the Chaos Divine Temple, the senior elders of the Create Evolved Mysterious Sect couldn't help but tremble. Their faces turned pale as they hurriedly bowed to the figure. This subordinate sect's Create Evolved Mysterious Sect's Elder Dao Bian and Dao Wuming greets Heavenly Dao Envoy Black Heaven Daoist Master. Rumble. As the Black Heaven's Dao Master's name was uttered by the people of the Create Evolved Mystical Sect, a terrifying spiritual pressure swept out in an even more violent manner. In an instant, it caused Dao Xuani's personal space to tremble violently, and the world within a radius of 1,000 meters seemed to tremble. Dao Master. Black Heaven Dao Master. Dao Lords were existences who stood at the very apex of the entire heavenly Dao. Even the weakest of them possessed the battle prowess of an Almighty, and the majority of them were existences who stood at the very peak of the Almighty. In other words, they were at the level of Master Tsang Zhen and Master Three Wonders. Even if they were unable to use their vast cultivation in special spaces like the chaotic Divine Palace, they could still easily kill any expert below the true energy realm just by relying on the pressure of their souls. Create Evolved Mysterious Sect, you have disappointed me. Black Heaven Dao Master's powerful and oppressive voice came from the figure that was slowly approaching from the altar. Dao Xuani, Dao Bian, Dao Keming, Fan Tian, and the rest of the Create Evolved Mysterious Sect's higher-ups were sweating profusely. They hurriedly said, we deserve to die. It's not that we didn't do our best for the sect, it's just that, I don't want to hear any excuses. Since there's a problem, think of a way to solve it as soon as possible. I've seen your report. Someone is obstructing the Heavenly Dao's progress in unifying this continent. Now, there's even a disciple personally trained by Master Tianqiong who wants to go against the Heavenly Dao. Yes, that's right. Dao Bian did not dare to hesitate and hurriedly replied, currently, our Create Evolved Mysterious Sect's true enemy is the Limitless Sword Sect, which is supported by Jianing. Because the Limitless Sword Sect has greatly thwarted our Create Evolved Mysterious Sect's progress in unifying the Eastern Wilderness, they recently recruited a new Hunyuan Heaven Sect and are using the Hunyuan Heaven Sect and the Limitless Sword Sect to form a pincer attack on our Create Evolved Mysterious Sect. It's your problem that you can't deal with the so-called Limitless Sword Sect and Hunyuan Heaven Sect. You're too useless, so who else can you blame? What I'm asking now is, did Master Zhu Zhao of the Heavenly Tao personally train a disciple who wants to go against the Heavenly Tao? Although he was called trash, Dao Bian did not dare to show any dissatisfaction. He could only suppress his dissatisfaction and respectfully said, "We're 90% sure that the person secretly teaching Xing Hui is Master Zhu Zhao of the Heavenly Tao. According to the information we received from the Heavenly Tao's intelligence department, Xing Hui has been alone with Master Zhu Zhao more than once. Moreover, he's a prominent divine stage cultivator and has an extremely shocking status in the Heavenly Tao. It's said that he's already listed in the Heavenly Tao's highest parliament. According to various signs, there's a 90% chance that he's Zhu Zhao's disciple." 90% sure. Very good. A cold smile appeared on Tao Master Black Sky's face. Zhu Zhao is the stabilizing force of the Heavenly Tao. Without Zhu Zhao, what's the Heavenly Tao's Heavenly Tao? It's not difficult for the Heavenly Tao to destroy it. Now, gather all the experts of the Create-Evolve mystical sect and immediately find Xing Hui's location. Then, surround and kill him. I want you to force him into a corner so that he has no choice but to ask for help from Zhu Zhao and make him descend his main battle avatar." Dao Bian immediately understood. A trace of astonishment appeared on his face. "My lord, you want to keep Zhu Zhao's main battle avatar?" "That's right. Moreover, control your abilities well. When the time comes, the main battle avatar's strength cannot be lower than the endless stage." As Taoist Master He Tian spoke, he cast a cold glance at Dao Bian. "If you guys are able to complete this task, it would be a great contribution. By then, not to mention ordinary divine weapons, it wouldn't be difficult to reward you guys with some level 11 or even level 12 peak divine weapons. As for the few of you, you guys would be required to break through to the unending realm and even the golden core realm." Dao Bian, Dao Keming, and the others immediately felt their hearts tremble. This was a battle between the top echelons of the Heaven Wasteland domain. Although they were the top figures of the Create-Evolve mystical sect and could do whatever they wanted in the Eastern Wilderness domain, their transcendent stage cultivation was nothing in the Heaven Wasteland domain or even the entire world. Once they offended those invincible figures who stood at the top of the world, crushing them would be as easy as crushing an ant. However, in the face of Tao Master Black Sky's request, they had no choice but to agree. "We know Xing Hui's whereabouts. He's currently in the Hunyuan Heaven sect." "Then what are you waiting for? Mobilize all the forces you can muster and kill Zhuo Qingxiu at once. We must force him to ask his master, esteemed Zhu Zhao, to send down his primary battle incarnation to help him when he's at his wit's end." Tao Master Black Sky said coldly. Destroying an avatar and summoning an avatar were two completely different concepts on a cultivator. If he could really destroy one of Reverend Zhu Zhao's never-ending realm avatars, not only would Reverend Zhu Zhao's body be affected, but even if he had some treasures to recover, Reverend Zhu Zhao would not be able to do anything for a year or two. If he wanted to completely recover, it would probably take 3 to 4 years. Such a long time would be enough for them to completely destroy the Vault of Heaven in the real world. Xing Hui is not a weakling. Not long ago, we sent 4 true energy stage experts with saint-grade battle bodies and 8 vision sage stage experts with our creation fantasy sect's most precious treasure, the Void Restriction Array flag, to besiege him, but they were all wiped out. Based on this, his peak battle power under the divine art isn't inferior to an ordinary never-ending stage expert. Moreover, he's currently in the Hunyuan Heaven sect, which has many experts, so it'll be even more difficult for us to deal with him. We'll have to mobilize all the experts, including Taoist Tian Ding. However, this will leave us empty. Not only will the territories we previously occupied be taken back by the Wuji Sword Sect, the Green Lotus Sword Sect, the Jin Wu religion, the Xinshao Sword Sect, the Qinkuan Sacred Land, and other forces, but even the Creation Fantasy Sect's headquarters may be in danger. Before Dao Bian could finish speaking, Dao Bian's aura suddenly erupted from Taoist Master He Tian's body. An invisible giant hand formed entirely from divine sense slammed into Dao Bian's body with a suffocating force. Dao Bian couldn't resist the mighty power that could shatter one's spirit. He was instantly pulverized by the palm, and his consciousness in the Chaos Divine Temple dissipated on the spot. Didn't you hear what I said clearly? What I'm saying is, immediately mobilize all the forces that the Creation Mystical Sect can muster to besiege and kill that brat called Zhuo Qingxiu. Force him to seek help from his master and have esteemed Zhu Zhao send down his prime battle incarnation. Are you all deaf? If the Creation Fantasy Sect can't do anything in the Eastern Wilderness, I don't mind supporting another spokesperson. I remember that there is a force called the Six Paths of Gods and Demons in the Eastern Wilderness that has tried to join the Heavenly Tao several times. If you can't even handle such a small matter, you can wait to be destroyed one by one. Daoist Master He Tian's rage immediately made the hearts of Dao Xuani, Dao Keming, Fan Tian, and the others tremble. They hurriedly shouted, "Please don't be angry, please don't be angry. Please don't worry, we will mobilize enough forces to completely besiege Chou Tsinghui and force him to ask for help from the Almighty behind him. We don't dare to delay the task that Lord Envoy has given us. However, Lord Envoy, it's not that we don't want to lead people to besiege and kill Chou Tsinghui in the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, but there are also a large number of experts in the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. If we really attack the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, it will inevitably lead to the Wuji Sword Sect and other forces to take action. At that time, perhaps before Tsinghui can ask Master Zhu Zhao to help, our Creation Fantasy Sect will be defeated. Wouldn't that ruin Lord Envoy's plan? Please give us some time, Lord Envoy. We will think of a way to lure Chou Tsinghui out of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Once he leaves the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, all of us will go all out to besiege and kill him until he asks for help from Master Zhu Zhao. Ha! Dao Master He Tian swept a glance over Dao Keming and the others and felt that what they said made sense. Please rest assured, Lord Envoy. We will definitely complete the task that Lord Envoy has given us. Our Creation Fantasy Sect has Master Tian Ding, a transformative stage expert who has cultivated a saint battle body and the sacred art. In addition, we also have Master Beidou, who has cultivated one of the 6 saints, the Soaring Snake Sacred Body. Although he is also a transformative stage expert like Master Tian Ding, his battle strength is stronger than Master Tian Ding's. We will ask these 2 senior brothers to cooperate with us. Once Chou Tsinghui leaves the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, only death will await him. Before he dies, we will definitely give him time to ask for help from Master Zhu Zhao and ask him to send down his clone. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go and make the necessary arrangements now. We can't act rashly and alert the enemy. We can't let Zhuo Qingxiu and esteemed Zhu Zhao notice anything. If we can't even handle such a small matter, there's no need for the Creation Mystical Sect to exist. Yes, yes, yes. Please rest assured, Lord Envoy. When Chou Tsinghui is surrounded, we will inform Lord Envoy immediately and ask Lord Envoy to send down a powerful main battle clone. The moment Master Zhu Zhao's main battle clone descends, we will defeat it in one fell swoop. Chapter 395. Qinglan Peak's Vice Sect Master Inauguration Ceremony was bound to be recorded in the history of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Not only did Sect Masters Wu Kunlun personally attend the ceremony, but all the more than a dozen Vision Saint Stage Grand Elders who were still in the Hunyuan Heaven Sect made an appearance at the banquet. Even those Grand Elders who were not in the Hunyuan Heaven Sect sent their disciples and followers to send gifts to express their congratulations. In particular, the 2 Grand Elders, Tang Sun and Yuan Bei, who had not attended public events for more than a decade, made an appearance at Nailan Fei's inauguration banquet to congratulate her and publicly express their support for her. All the Grand Elders, the 2 Grand Elders, and Sect Masters Wu Kunlun's full support was definitely unprecedented in the history of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. In addition, the 2 most promising contenders for the Sect Master's throne, Jia Su and Bei Zhongguang, one publicly gave gifts and admitted defeat, while the other was killed by Grand Elder Tsinghui on the spot. No one could be a threat anymore. This made all the Hunyuan Heaven Sect cultivators understand that the Hunyuan Heaven Sect would soon usher in an era that belonged to Nailan Fei, or rather, to Chou Tsinghui. Under such circumstances, Qinglan Peak's inauguration banquet naturally became unprecedentedly lively. The banquet, which was originally planned to be held for 1 day, was delayed for 3 days. Countless Hunyuan Heaven sects, clans and subsidiary forces came to congratulate Naylan Fei, causing many gifts to pile up in Qinglan Peak. These changes were all within Xing Hui's expectations. He could be said to have no desires, and his status meant that even if ordinary people wanted to curry favor with him, they would not be able to present gifts that could satisfy him. Under such circumstances, Naylan Fei, who had shown him kindness and was favored by him, naturally became the object of everyone's desire. Given the potential that Xing Hui had shown, everyone knew that as long as they clung on to Naylan Fei, it was equivalent to embarking on a smooth path to heaven. Grand Elder Tang Sun, Grand Elder Yuan Bei. While the banquet was still going on, Xing Hui secretly found Tang Sun and Yuan Bei, the 2 true energy stage experts, and brought them to the guest room. Naylan Fei was able to become the next sect master of our Hunyuan Heaven sect thanks to the help of the 2 Grand Elders. Otherwise, it would not have been so easy. Grand Elder Xing Hui is too polite. Naylan Fei is not weak. She has cultivated to the Azure stage at such a young age, and what's more, she has cultivated Saint-grade astral chi. If she can also condense a Saint-grade battle body in the Vision Saint stage, she will be another powerful expert in our Hunyuan Heaven sect. I believe she can inherit the Hunyuan Heaven sect, to let her inherit the Hunyuan Heaven sect. I believe she will to bring glory to the sect. Tang Sun smiled politely. I appreciate Grand Elder Tang Sun's kindness. Since Grand Elder Tang Sun has taken such good care of Naylan Fei, I naturally cannot forget about the Hunyuan Heaven sect. To be honest, I have already told the Almighty behind me about the create-evolved mysterious sex attack. He can sense that my cultivation is still weak and will come to the eastern wilderness in half a month to bring me some cultivation resources in the hope that I can step into the true energy stage and condense divine-grade true energy as soon as possible. According to my understanding, in addition to the various cultivation resources he has on him, he also coincidentally killed a grade 11 Heavenly Peng. If Grand Elders need it, I can ask him to bring the corpse of the Heavenly Peng sacred beast and sell it to the Hunyuan Heaven sect at a low price as thanks. A sacred beast Heavenly Peng. The corpse of a grade 11 sacred beast Heavenly Peng. My heavens! That Almighty actually. Tang Sun and Yuan Bei were both horrified, and their eyes were filled with shock as they looked at Xing Hui. The Almighty behind Xing Hui could even kill a grade 11 sacred beast Heavenly Peng. It should be said that the sacred beast Heavenly Peng was a powerful sacred beast that was most proficient in flying and life-saving. A cultivator might be able to defeat it, but the difficulty of killing it was much higher than ordinary sacred chilans and sacred beasts of the 6 sacred beasts. A cultivator who could kill such a sacred beast Heavenly Peng had to be a pinnacle existence among the Almighty, or even an invincible figure who had condensed a domain. And grade 11 sacred beast Heavenly Peng can be sold for 20 or 30 Dao rhythms even in the Heaven Wasteland domain. If you bring it to the eastern wilderness, it won't be difficult to sell it for more than 100 Dao rhythms. If we can use a special method to extract the various materials from the sacred beast Heavenly Peng, our Hunyuan Heaven sect may even have several more prominent divine stage experts or even true energy stage experts. Tang Sun agreed without hesitation. Supreme Elder Xing Hui, how much is the Almighty behind you willing to sell it to our Hunyuan Heaven sect? Xing Hui looked at Tang Sun and said, 100 Dao rhythms. You should know the rules set by the Almighty on Heaven Wasteland domain. Even if I want to sell it to you at a discount, the price can't be too low. 100 Dao rhythms. Tang Sun calculated inwardly and finally nodded heavily. This price is already very generous compared to other forces. If it was other forces, they would have to disassemble the sacred beast Heavenly Peng's body and sell it piece by piece. In the end, if we want to buy the entire sacred beast Heavenly Peng, it will most likely reach 150 or even 180 Dao rhythms. Supreme Elder Xing Hui's price is indeed very good. We will buy it, and I will try my best to gather 100 Dao rhythms worth of items for Supreme Elder Xing Hui in the next half a month. Sing Hui couldn't help but be a little surprised when he heard this. The Hunyuan Heaven sect actually has so many Tao rhythms worth of items? I thought that after you joined Sword Shadow, you should have already exchanged for most of the items. Even though Jianing gave us a discounted price of 1 Dao Aura for a 5th level upper grade divine weapon, this price was still much lower than those merchant associations that came across the sea. When some of the larger merchant associations that came across the sea to trade with us, the price would often reach the level of 1 Dao Aura for a 6th level lower grade divine weapon, or even a 6th level middle grade or upper grade divine weapon. Therefore, even though we have exchanged quite a number of treasures that can be used to raise our cultivation from the sword essence, the quantity is not too great. We are still barely able to gather 100 Dao Aura items from the sect. Tang Sun's expression was full of regret. If we knew that the Almighty behind Supreme Elder Tsing Hui was willing to come to the Eastern Wasteland domain, we would have bought these cultivation treasures from them. Tsing Hui nodded. The corpse of an 11th grade Heavenly Peng sacred beast was not something that a small chamber of commerce could possess. Even if many chambers of commerce had almighty experts of the 25th grade or above, they could not obtain enough raw materials and could not conduct cross-continent trade. If it were not for the fact that Tsing Hui was cooperating with the Galaxy Chamber of Commerce and had a special identity as a Void Walker, he might not have been able to obtain the corpse of the Heavenly Peng sacred beast for only a dozen Dao rhythms. In that case, Grand Elder Tang Sun can start preparing. I'll go and contact the Almighty behind me. Supreme Elder Tsing Hui, please go ahead. Tang Sun said with a smile. However, Yuan Bei thought of something and cautiously asked, Supreme Elder Tsing Hui, our Hunyuan Heaven sect is about to cooperate with the Jin Wu religion to launch a counterattack against the Create Evolve Mysterious sect. I wonder if Supreme Elder Tsing Hui has the time to participate in this battle. This matter. Tsing Hui pondered for a moment and said, half a month later, the Almighty behind me will send me enough cultivation materials. After that, I'm afraid I'll have to go into closed-door cultivation to break through to the true essence stage. I'm afraid I won't have the time in the next month. However, if the Hunyuan Heaven sect really encounters an unsolvable danger, as a member of the sect, I naturally have to help. Yuan Bei breathed a sigh of relief when she heard this. With Supreme Elder Tsing Hui's words, we can rest assured. After the three finished their discussion, Tang Sun and Yuan Bei bid farewell and left. Tsing Hui directly entered the Chaos Temple and found Gong Xing to discuss the matter of purchasing the 11th grade Heavenly Peng Sacred Beast corpse. Due to the fact that it was only the corpse of a saint beast, even though the Tian Peng's corpse was slightly more expensive than the Ming Bird and the Gue Che's corpses, it was still incomparable to the corpses of the 6 saints. After a series of negotiations, Qing Su bought the Class 11 Tian Peng's corpse for 26 rhymes of Taoism in the end. All he needed to do now was wait for the situation here to settle down before making a trip over. Qing Su was about to leave after he finished discussing business with Gong Xing, but he discovered Ling Yu's figure in his personal space at this moment. She seemed to be waiting for him. What's the matter? Greetings, Alliance Master. Ling Yu hurriedly bowed when she saw Tsing Hui appear. As Tsing Hui's aura grew stronger, Ling Yu no longer dared to act casually in front of Tsing Hui like before. Indeed, there is one thing that the Alliance Lord should know. Back when I was the leader of Dawn, I was acquainted with quite a few low-level Sons of Chaos. Since the Alliance Lord asked us to find suitable traders to expand the influence of our Primordial Trade Association, this subordinate has been keeping an eye on them and found a suitable trader. However, this trader's trading method is somewhat unique. Oh, tell me, how special is it? This trader comes from the Kongli continent. It's a medium-sized continent 26 million kilometers away from the eastern wilderness and 49 million kilometers away from the Heaven Wasteland domain. No, it's a small continent now. This continent is rich in a type of ore called dust-cleansing Oregon. This ore has the mysterious effect of disrupting space and reversing yin and yang. Therefore, 600 years ago, the Heavenly Tao, the Divine Wilderness, and the Eternal Domain fought over this continent. It's said that more than a dozen almighty figures have fallen. Wait a minute. More than a dozen almighty figures have fallen. Those almighty figures have actually come to the Kongli continent. That's right. It was nearly 50 million kilometers. Even if those almighty figures flew at full speed day and night with a flying artifact above the 10th level, it would probably take them 3 to 4 years. It seemed that the value of those dust-cleansing ores was astonishing. In the war on the Kongli continent, the heavenly Tao won in the end and occupied the Kongli continent. However, this war shattered the veins of the Kongli continent and depleted its vitality. Cultivation became difficult, and it completely relied on external resources. Coupled with the long journey, the cultivation world of this continent almost completely stagnated. As the Kongli continent's dust-cleansing ores were dug out, the experts of the heavenly Tao left 300 years ago, leaving only the Heavens Will Palace behind to continue excavating the extremely difficult mineral deposits. However, the Heavens Will Palace had the support of the heavenly Tao back then, so it was naturally successful in the Kongli continent. None of the local cultivators dared to resist, but as the experts of the heavenly Tao left, even if they left behind many ordinary resources and treasures and cultivated a few experts of the true energy realm, it was still declining day by day. Taking advantage of this opportunity, a force that was destroyed by the Heavens Will Palace spontaneously formed to resist the Heavens Will Palace. The Heavens Will Alliance quickly rose and wanted to overthrow the rule of the Heavens Will Palace. The person who entrusted this task, Lin Qin, is a core member of the Heavens Will Alliance. She hopes that we can help them destroy the Heavens Will Palace. Chapter 396. Destroy Heavens Will Palace? Xing Hui looked at Ling Yu. You said that there are only a few true energy realm experts left in Heavens Will Palace? Yes, it said that there are only 6 of them. It's just to deal with 6 true energy realm cultivators. How much did she pay? 180 Daoist rhymes. 180 Daoist rhymes? Xing Hui was taken aback, thinking that he had misheard. 180 Daoist rhymes? 180 Daoist rhymes to deal with a force with only 6 true energy realm experts. Yes, 180 Daoist rhymes. Lin Yu naturally knew the reason for Xing Hui's shock and quickly explained, the reason why the price is so high is because of the distance of 49 million kilometers. The other reason is because of the force behind Heavens Will Palace, Heaven's Will. Heaven's Will took the Kongli continent from the eternal and divine wilderness, so this continent is tacitly owned by Heaven's Will. The almighties of the other forces don't dare to send down their clones to avoid provoking Heaven's Will. Also, one of the 6 true energy realm experts is a descendant of the Thunder Punishment Tao Lord, one of the 36 Tao Lords of Heaven's Will. Thunder Punishment Tao Lord, since Heaven's Will was facing the threat of a chaos war with Heaven's Will, Xing Hui had a good understanding of Heaven's Will. There were 8 Tao Lords and 36 Tao Lords in Heaven's Will. The 8 Tao Lords were all invincible figures in the Saint Realm. Each of them had shocking cultivation and dominated an area. The remaining 36 Tao Lords were said to be the cream of the crop among the Almighties. They either had the cultivation of lawful embodiment of heaven and earth or had condensed top-tier divine abilities. The Thunder Punishment Tao Lord was one of the Almighties who had condensed top-tier divine abilities. Even if the Kongli continent is tacitly owned by Heaven's Will Palace and the Thunder Punishment Tao Lord's descendant is in Heaven's Will Palace, no one would take the risk in the face of the temptation of 180 Daoist rhymes. Well, there really isn't. Then we'll have to talk about the Voidly continent's specialty, the Dustly Stone. Back then, the reason why the Heavenly Tao, Divine Wilderness, and Eternal Chaos organizations sent their mighty figures to the Voidly continent to fight was because of the Dustly Stone's ability to interfere with space and reverse yin and yang. Ordinary mighty figures with incarnation techniques are almost unable to let their incarnation pass through the special environment of the Dustly continent and descend there. Even if those with higher incarnation techniques can descend on that continent, the power of their incarnation techniques will be greatly reduced and the consumption will increase exponentially. Greatly discounted? How is it greatly reduced? For a distance of close to 50 million kilometers, it is reasonable to say that a powerful being's avatar should be able to maintain the strength of a true energy boundary. However, on the Kongli continent, the Avatar's strength is not even at the green underworld boundary. Most of them are at the Spirit Chi Unity boundary. Those avatars are only at the first or second rank. Sometimes, the avatar would only be at the spirit refining realm. Only the elites among the powerful beings, or even the peak powerful beings, would be able to maintain their avatar at the green underworld boundary. Then, Ling Yu added, and this is because most of the dust-repelling stones have been excavated in recent years. It is said that the influence back then was even greater. The avatar of a peak powerful being is only at the green underworld boundary. In other words, the avatar of a saint boundary invincible being can only be at the vision divine realm? Yes. The dust-repelling stones have less of an effect on the avatar technique. It is said that it has more of an effect on the teleportation technique. Until now, no one has ever used the teleportation technique to enter the Kongli continent. It is because of the dust-repelling stones that the Heavenly Tao, Divine Desolate, and Eternal Realms want to control the Kongli continent. When the time comes, they will bury enough dust-repelling stones in their own sects so that they won't have to worry about the enemy using the avatar technique or the teleportation technique. This reason. If a powerful being's avatar is at the Spirit Chi Unity boundary, it might not be able to deal with the power left behind by the Heaven Will Palace. Those peak powerful beings are all famous figures. If they rashly send their avatars to help the Heaven Will Alliance destroy the Heaven Will Palace, that is the same as directly challenging the Heavenly Tao, Xing Hui understood. As for the avatar rushing to the Kongli continent, unless that cultivator decided to stay in the Kongli continent and never come out again, once he left the Kongli continent, he would be hunted down by Taoist Master He Tian's avatar. Cultivators who had not even reached the Almighty Realm would definitely not be able to withstand it. The powerful being behind my lord is from the Heaven Vault Empire. Moreover, he might not be afraid of the Heavenly Tao. Therefore, if that lord is willing to take action, we can still take down the 180 Tao rhythms. Ling Yu said carefully. How is that possible? Xing Hui shook his head. He knew who Ling Yu was referring to. It was just esteemed Zhu Zhao. Esteemed Zhu Zhao might not be afraid of the Heavenly Tao, and given his cultivation base, it would not be difficult for him to send an avatar of the green underworld realm to wipe out the Heaven Will Palace. However, the huge consumption of the geometrical improvement was enough to cause esteemed Zhu Zhao to fall into a weak state for a year or even several years. The strength of the Heaven Vault Empire was completely based on the support of esteemed Zhu Zhao, who was ranked in the top 10 of the Heaven Wasteland domain. Once esteemed Zhu Zhao fell into a weak state, the Heaven Vault Empire, which was already in a bad situation, would definitely be struck by lightning. Leave the case. I will report this matter to the higher-ups. However, it is basically impossible to take down the 180 Tao rhythms. Xing Hui said. A trace of regret flashed across Ling Yu's eyes when she saw this. She put down the detailed information of the commission and left. Esteemed Zhu Zhao can't go, but, a strange look flashed across Xing Hui's eyes. I wonder if my avatar technique will be affected. Dust cleansing stones are not cheap. The Heavenly Tao monopolizes the market for dust cleansing stones and the price is 100 cubic meters per Tao rhythm. Even the price on the black market is only a few % lower than the official price set by the Heavenly Tao. There are many buyers. Although the Heavenly Tao has dug up most of the dust cleansing stones in the Kongli continent in the past few hundred years, unless they move the entire continent away, there will definitely be some dust cleansing stones left. Moreover, the remaining dust cleansing stones that can be excavated will not be less than 100,000 cubic meters. However, it would not be so easy to help Lin Qin and the others destroy the Heaven Will Palace. If they wanted to occupy the Kongli continent, it would not be so easy. The people of the Heaven Crusade Alliance should know that the Heaven Will Palace was backed by the Heavenly Tao. Why would they still want to destroy the Heaven Will Palace? Were they not afraid that the Heaven Will Palace would be destroyed and the Heaven Will Palace would send a wave of Eternal Stage or even Golden Core experts to cross the sea and return to the Kongli continent for revenge? Xing Hui glanced at the information left behind by Ling Yu. After pondering for a moment, Xinghui made up his mind. The Heaven Will Palace, the Heaven Crusade Alliance. These 180 Tao rhythms are much easier to obtain than the 200 Tao rhythms from Su Shao of the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce. I'll take them. As for whether I want to occupy the Kongli continent and excavate the dust-cleansing stones, I'll decide when the time comes. However, I can't rush it for now. The Hunyuan Heaven sect, the Jin Wu religion, and the Green Lotus Sword sect will be secretly holding an auction. It won't be too late to make my move after I've settled these three matters. Thinking of this, Xinghui focused his mind and continued to polish his qi, preparing for the Golden Crow qi to condense True Yuan. When he learned that the Galaxy Commerce had prepared the corpse of the Heavenly Peng Sacred Beast, he directly went to the Galaxy Commerce and bought the corpse of the Heavenly Peng Sacred Beast with 26 Tao rhythms from the 81 Tao rhythms item. At the same time, he spent another 40 Tao rhythms to purchase a series of cultivation resources for the Golden Crow bloodline, including some precious level 9 treasures, just in case. After handing over the corpse of the Heavenly Peng Sacred Beast and a series of items to Tang Sun, he quietly waited for news from the Green Lotus Sword sect, the Jin Wu religion, and the Hunyuan Heaven sect. In the Green Lotus Sword sect's direction, Wen Hui did not make him wait for too long. On the 12th day that Xinghui continued to polish his Golden Crow qi, he successfully completed the final auction in the Green Lotus Sword sect and obtained an astonishing 144 Tao rhythms. Of course, most of these 144 Tao rhythms were exchanged with weapons after Wen Hui had a good discussion with the auctioneers. The real valuable items naturally fell into Wen Hui's pocket. The next day, news also came from the Jin Wu religion's direction. After trading the Sun Crystal with Ji Hao, this drop of Gold Crow's spirit blood and some other divine weapons had brought Ji Hao 82 Daoist rhymes of profit. On the other hand, the Hunyuan Heaven sect was not surprised and gave Xinghui 100 Tao rhythms according to the original price. When Tang Sun handed over the 100 Tao rhythms item to Xinghui, he was secretly distressed, wondering if his price was too low. After 3 successful transactions, Qing Su's item of Daoist bearing, which had fallen to 35, rose to 341 all of a sudden. This number had completely exceeded Qing Su's expectations. With the 341 charms of Daos in his possession, Qing Su finally regained his confidence again. Now that I have the Tao rhythms, I can start to refine the Golden Crow blood essence and condense my True Yuan. Xinghui muttered to himself. Although the Hunyuan Heaven sect was not a good place for secluded cultivation, it was protected by the void ceiling formation he had obtained from the Creation sect. With the protection of the void ceiling formation, unless a golden core expert erupted with their golden core and tore the formation apart with a single strike, no one would be able to threaten his safety while he was cultivating in Qing Su. After explaining to Nailan Fei that he needed to focus on breaking through to the True Yuan stage, he went directly to the cultivation room that Nailan Fei had specially built for him on Qinglan Peak. He activated the Void Restriction Profound Formation and began closed-door training to condense his True Yuan. As he revealed his intention to begin condensing his True Yuan, the entire Hunyuan Heaven sect became nervous. In order to ensure Xinghui's safety, the 2 Grand Elders, Tang Sun and Yuan Bei, personally guarded Qinglan Peak and paid close attention to any suspicious people. Many disciples of the Hunyuan Heaven sect were also sent out to patrol the 3,000-kilometer radius around the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Tens of thousands of disciples interweaved into an inescapable net, making it impossible for anyone to sneak into the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Even several of the Hunyuan Heaven sect's Grand Elders, who had been sent to the Jin Wu religion's Hidden Flame Mountain to discuss with the Jin Wu religion's sect master Zhu Xian, had temporarily postponed their attack on the Creative Evolve Profound sect. The reason was that they were worried that their attack at this time would anger the Creative Evolve Profound sect and cause them to bypass the defensive line and attack the headquarters of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, which would affect Xinghui's closed-door training. These details fully demonstrated the influence that Xinghui, as a Grand Elder, had in the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Chapter 397. A month passed in the blink of an eye. In fact, Half a month ago, Xing Hui had already condensed his first vital essence by refining the power of the Golden Crow's blood essence. However, although condensing the first vital essence could be called the true energy boundary, it did not mean that he had truly consolidated this boundary. It took Xing Hui another half a month to completely refine the Golden Crow's blood essence before he completed the transformation of his vital essence into vital essence. Moreover, the density of his vital essence had increased to the level of the peak of the initial stage of the true energy boundary. Compared to ordinary vital essence, the divine grade vital essence is far purer and denser than ordinary vital essence. Especially, the vital essence that I cultivated with the world-burning incantation has the characteristics of pure and vigorous energy, and also, Xing Hui felt the terrifying explosive power contained in his body, and a strange expression appeared on his face. The increase in power, no wonder, even if he had condensed the Golden Crow's body and cultivated the divine grade vital essence, the world-burning incantation's vital essence cultivated with the world-burning incantation was more powerful than the vital essence cultivated with ordinary techniques. However, at the same time, the vital essence of the world-burning incantation was more difficult to control. If Xing Hui had not cultivated his vital essence to the great success stage and his mental strength was now close to the 90 mark, it would not have been so easy to condense the vital essence into a solid form. As for completely controlling it freely and having the qualifications to step into the transformative boundary, who knew how many years it would take? Next is the pure accumulation of vital essence. As long as my vital essence accumulates to the perfect boundary, I will be able to easily permeate my vital essence to every part of my body. At that time, I will be able to manifest attacks from any part of my body. This is the characteristic of the transformative boundary, Xing Hui muttered to himself. However, to cultivate the divine grade vital essence to the perfect boundary required far more accumulation than the spirit grade and saint grade vital essence. Although Xing Hui had 341 Taoist rhythms, he had to set aside 110 of them to purchase the Illuminating Sun Sutra. After deducting these 110 points of Taoist rhythms, he did not know how much of the remaining 231 would be left after he accumulated his vital essence to the perfect boundary. The 6 paths of God and Demon, the Pharaoh sect, and the Giant Dragon Mountain Range. I have to start attacking these 3 sects. I can't come up with a dignified reason to attack these 3 sections. If I forcibly attack and occupy these 3 sects, it will definitely cause a strong backlash from these sections. Once they feel that their sects are about to be destroyed, they will certainly invite the chaos organization behind them and have those powerful beings send their main battle embodiments to resist our invasion. So, in order to minimize this possibility, I had better find an excuse of being able to form an alliance of the 9 saint sects. Xing Hui pondered. After a moment, he temporarily suppressed this idea. The 8 saints alliance is better, but the 9 saints alliance will definitely involve the Wuji Sword sect. The Wuji Sword sect is not weak. My current battle strength may be able to suppress the Pharaoh sect, the Giant Dragon Mountain Range, and even the Shinshao Sword sect, the Qiankuan Sacred Land, the 6 Paths of God and Demon, and the Hunyuan Heaven sect, but against the Wuji Sword sect, I'm still a little lacking. After all, the Wuji Sword sect has Ancestor Stone Sword, who has reached the never-ending stage. Ancestor Stone Sword. He was the strongest person in the Eastern Wilderness and a peak never-ending stage expert. Although he had only awakened a spirit-grade battle body, which was slightly inferior to Daoist Tian Ding, who had a saint-grade battle body, he could defeat Daoist Tian Ding with one blow due to his astonishing cultivation base that was 1 stage higher than Daoist Tian Ding's. Moreover, the ancestors of the Wuji Sword sect and the Creation Mysterious sect, who were their trump cards, were all at least level 10. In other words, they all had divine arts, and Xing Hui's level 3 divine arts would not be able to gain any advantage. The Wuji Sword sect and the Creation Mysterious sect both have their treasures, but the Creation Mysterious sect has only shown 3 treasures so far. One is the Void Prohibition Mysterious Formation Flag, the other is Daoist Yu Ding's Creation Mysterious Armor, and the third is the Dark Valley Origin Pearl that can produce the Dark Valley Pearl. The Wuji sword sect's treasures are 4 superior level 10 divine swords called the Sky Pole Sword, the Earth Pole Sword, the Black Pole Sword, and the Wuji Sword. What's frightening is that these 4 divine swords come with a sword array. Many times, the Creation Mysterious sect can defeat the Wuji sword sect in a head-on battle, but as long as the Wuji sword sect uses the 4 divine swords and brings out the sword array, the Creation Mysterious sect will have to spit out all the territory that they have swallowed. This is the foundation of their resistance against the Creation Mysterious sect's invasion. Just a little bit more. He was just a little bit away from using violent means to conquer the eastern wilderness. To him, the transformative realm was like taking something out of his pocket. As long as his true essence reached the perfection realm, he would naturally be able to step into the transformative realm. Then, he would wait until he had truly stepped into the transformative realm before completely attacking the Creation Mysterious sect and the Wuji sword sect. As for now, cultivation was his priority. Next, there are 2 things to do. First, I need to contact Sword Master Bai Heng and by the True Essence Realm cultivation method of the Candle Sun True Scripture. Second, I need to prepare the cultivation resources for the True Essence Realm of the Black Crow Bloodline and the Candle Dragon Bloodline. I have already taken out all the cultivation resources for the True Essence Realm of the Black Crow Bloodline and the Candle Dragon Bloodline. After all, the top cultivation resources for the Golden Crow Bloodline and the Candle Dragon Bloodline have always been in high demand. Although the Silver Chamber of Commerce and the Mystic Jade Pavilion can take out 1 or 2 portions from time to time, it is not so frequent. Xing Hui thought to himself. He had already stepped into the Chaos Divine Palace and directly arrived in the Sky Dome Realm. Considering that the core members of the Sky Dome Realm, Master Zhu Zhao, and the others must be very busy, Xing Hui did not disturb them. After sensing for a while, he directly appeared in front of a platform. In the center of this platform, a middle-aged woman in the Almighty Realm was talking about the way of refining true qi, which was similar to the way of refining true qi into virtual qi. Jin Yu, the granddaughter of the Pavilion Master of the Mystic Jade Pavilion, which was one of the 6 great chambers of commerce, was sitting in the middle of the platform, listening quietly with more than 30 people on the platform. Xing Hui stood at one side and did not disturb her. He patiently listened to her. After a while, he benefited a lot. In terms of realm, the middle-aged woman in front of him was at least at the great perfection stage of refining true qi into virtual qi. Some of the methods she talked about to hone one's true qi were quite wonderful. Even Xing Hui could not help but benefit a lot from it. The middle-aged woman had obviously been lecturing here for a long time. After lecturing for another 4 hours, she slightly paused. Today's qi tempering method will end here. Next month, I will be lecturing here on the spirit tempering method. Anyone who pays 3 contribution points can come and listen. After she finished speaking, she even nodded politely at Xing Hui. Although Xing Hui was a little surprised, he still hurriedly bowed back. Soon, the middle-aged woman left. Everyone stood up one after another. When they saw Xing Hui standing at one side, although they were a little surprised, they all bowed politely to him. However, they did not say anything and left one by one. Only Jin Yu seemed to be surprised when she saw Xing Hui. Pak Hui. You. Why are you here? Xing Hui was a little confused. Why can't I be here? Lord Peony teaches once a month for 20 hours each time. When the lesson begins, ordinary people are not allowed to enter. I didn't see you at the beginning. At this point, Jin Yu seemed to have thought of something. Suddenly, her beautiful big eyes widened. You are a counselor. A counselor whose authority is higher than that of a high-ranking member. Only counselors can attend the lesson for free. When Xing Hui heard this, he finally understood why everyone present bowed to him. Even the great master who was in charge of true qi, Lord Peony, nodded at him. So this was the reason. Yes, I am indebted to Lord Peony's kindness. Oh my God, you are a counselor. There are only 3 ways to become a counselor in Heaven's Vault. First, You are a great master who has derived divine powers. Second, you have made great contributions. Third, you have reached the 25th level of chaos. Speaking up to there, Jin, you studied Qing Su constantly, it's impossible for you to be a great being. In that case, the only possibility is that you've made great contributions or that you've reached the 25th step of the chaotic realm. Thinking about that mysterious Senior Dongyang. Don't tell me you've obtained the authority of a council member because of Senior Dongyang? Xing Hui heard her automatically filling in the blanks and was too lazy to explain. He said directly, there is something I need your help with. I have reached the true element realm and cultivated the world-burning art to condense divine-grade true essence. However, if I want to complete this realm as soon as possible, I am afraid I will need a lot of resources. Does Miaoyu Pavilion have any channels? If not, why don't you introduce me to the other big chambers of commerce? How can you not have any? You underestimate Miaoyu Pavilion. What cultivation resources do you want? World-burning art, right? I have heard of this cultivation method. It is the cultivation method of the Golden Crow's bloodline. Its power is astonishing, but it seems to be very dangerous to cultivate. If it is the Golden Crow's bloodline, I will calculate it for you. Profound Sun Pill. It can greatly increase cultivation speed. Or Brilliant Sun Pill. Our Miaoyu Pavilion even has Golden Crow blood pills. What is the price of the Profound Sun Pill? What is the effect of supporting cultivation? What about Brilliant Sun Pill and Golden Crow blood pill? Profound Great Sun Pellet is relatively cheap. If we exchange it for our Sky Dome contribution points, 10 contribution points can be exchanged for 1 bottle, which is 10 pellets. As for its effect, 1 bottle per month, and under normal circumstances, it would take 30 years to cultivate the divine grade Jin Yuan to perfection. As for the Brilliant Sun Spirit Pellet, its effect is more than double that of the Profound Great Sun Pellet. The price of 1 bottle is around 50 contribution points, and under normal circumstances, it would take 10 to 12 years for a cultivator to reach perfection of Jin Yuan. As for the Golden Crow blood pellet, its price is 150 contribution points, and it would take about 5 to 6 years to reach perfection of Jin Yuan. 5 to 6 years, Xing Hui directly excluded these pills. Do you have Golden Crow's blood essence? If I have 4 portions of Saint-level Golden Crow's blood essence, I will be able to cultivate my true essence to completion in less than half a year. Golden Crow's blood essence is good stuff, especially you want 4 portions, Jin Yu shook her head. Miaoyu Pavilion doesn't have any during this period. If you do, I can help you ask around and keep it. If Miaoyu Pavilion doesn't have any, what about the other big chambers of commerce? Golden Crow's blood essence and Shining Dragon's blood essence are all fine. If the transaction is successful, I can give you 2 Daoist rhymes for each portion of blood essence. 2 Daoist rhymes. Jin Yu's eyes immediately lit up. Is that what you said? I will send my good sisters to ask around. Wait for my news. I hope your luck attribute can bring me good luck. Isn't that so? Look at the direction I, Jin Yu, chose. Wait, don't go away. I will give you the mantra of my personal space. When the time comes, just bring them to my personal space. Okay. Jin Yu memorized Xing Hui's mantra and her figure quickly disappeared. I hope. I have enough Golden Crow's blood essence and Shining Dragon's blood essence. Chapter 398. The intermediary fee of 2 Dao auras seemed to have given Jin Yu endless motivation. In less than an hour, Jin Yu had already appeared in Xing Hui's personal space with 6 women of similar age to her. Your Excellency Pak Hui, sorry to keep you waiting. Come, let me introduce you. This is Yu Juanru, the daughter of the Vice President of the Southern Path Chamber of Commerce. This is Gu Zhenzhen, the younger sister of the Vice President of the Rising Dragon Chamber of Commerce. This is Qi Sisi, the granddaughter of the President of the Heaven Luo Chamber of Commerce. This is Jian Yun, the disciple of the President of the Vientiane Chamber of Commerce. Jin Yu stepped forward and introduced Xing Hui to the identities of these people one by one. Because she knew of the friendship between Xing Hui and the Galaxy Chamber of Commerce, she did not call her close friends. But even so, the circle formed by the 7 of them was still enough to represent more than half of the business circle of Heaven Wasteland domain. Even if 3 of the 6 people were not from the 6 major chambers of commerce, their influence still could not be underestimated. Your Excellency Pak Hui, they more or less have the blood essence of the Golden Crow, the blood essence of the Shining Dragon and similar resources. I have already counted for you once. There are a total of 4 portions of Golden Crow blood essence, 2 portions of Shining Dragon blood essence, 12 portions of Golden Crow blood essence, 3 portions of Shining Dragon blood essence, and a remnant soul of the Golden Crow. Especially the Vientiane Chamber of Commerce of the Jianyun family, they found the corpse of a Golden Crow. The corpse of a divine Golden Crow can be used up to 60% or more. This is the treasure that the Vientiane Chamber of Commerce plans to auction in 3 months. If you can offer a high enough price, Sister Jianyun will definitely be able to persuade her master to sell the corpse of the Golden Crow to you. Jin Yu said enthusiastically, and soon handed the detailed list to Xing Hui. 4 portions of Golden Crow blood essence, 2 portions of Shining Dragon blood essence. Golden Crow remnant soul, corpse. Xing Hui's eyes swept across the list of items one by one. These things were really not cheap. Blood essence of the Golden Crow, 60 Dao auras. Shining Dragon blood essence, 58 Dao auras. The blood of the Golden Crow and the blood of the Shining Dragon were slightly lower in price, but they were not cheap either. They were about 10% higher than the market price, and some even reached 20%. The price is a little high. We don't have a choice. Although our statuses aren't low, we don't have much power in the Chamber of Commerce. If we want to get these treasures for Big Brother Pak Hui, we don't have the ability to do so without relying on a relatively high price. Gu Guzhen from the Rising Dragon Chamber of Commerce said sweetly. As soon as she finished speaking, Chi Cece from the Heaven's Net Chamber of Commerce chimed in. However, I heard that Big Brother Pak Hui is acquainted with an incredible Voidwalker. If Big Brother Pak Hui is willing to recommend this Voidwalker to our Chamber of Commerce and sign a delivery agreement with us, then he'll be one of us. Since he's one of us, then he'll naturally be able to get an internal price. When the time comes, we'll sell him to Big Brother Pak Hui at a lower price. That's right, that's right. If Big Brother Pak Hui is willing to persuade the Voidwalker behind you to sign a contract with our Myriad Elephant Chamber of Commerce, then even if we only deliver once every 3 years, I'm still confident that I can lower the price of the Golden Crow's blood essence to 55 Dao auras for Big Brother Pak Hui. The 6 girls chattered incessantly. In the end, they hoped that Xing Hui would sign an agreement with their Chamber of Commerce and deliver goods for them in the future. In the eyes of many people, personal space was the most useless feature. Usually, a first order was enough. If they wanted to upgrade their personal space to the 5th order, it was equivalent to wasting 4 chaos levels. This was an unacceptable thing for many cultivators. Therefore, unless it was a son of chaos specially cultivated by the Chamber of Commerce, there were only a handful of people who were willing to spend 5 chaos levels on personal space. As for increasing the frequency of delivery by upgrading the Incarnation Technique, the Incarnation Technique was a feature derived from the 25th order. If they wanted to upgrade it to the 5th order, they would need to reach the 29th order. For many Sons of Chaos, this level was equivalent to their lifetime bottleneck. Who would be willing to waste it on the Incarnation Technique? Under such circumstances, the number of Voidwalkers on the entire Infinite Wasteland was in short supply. A contract of 3 years, Xing Hui pondered for a while. In any case, all the problems were pushed to the mysterious Dong Yang behind him, so he did not refuse. According to his purchasing ability, he quickly chose 3 Golden Crow's blood essence and 1 Torch Dragon's blood essence. The total price was 212 Dao auras. All of a sudden, the 341 Daoist rhymes that he had just obtained plummeted to 129 Daoist rhymes. As expected, I can only choose one between consumption and speed. If I choose the Great Sun Profound Pill, I can cultivate my essential yuan to perfection in 30 years. If I don't use pills and only use the Great Sun Crystal to assist in cultivation, it will take 60 years. If I don't even have the Great Sun Crystal and the like. If I just use the Fire Spirit Crystal to cultivate, this number will double. Xing Hui shook his head and said to Gu Zhenzhen, Yu Jianru, and Jian Yun, you three see when you have time. It's best to gather in one place. I will ask Senior Dong Yang to go to the place you mentioned. Let's meet at the Vientiane Chamber of Commerce. When Senior Dong Yang wants to go to the Infinite Wasteland domain, just let us know a few days in advance. We will prepare the spiritual imprint for Senior Dong Yang. I have time in the next few days. You can give me the spiritual imprint. You can prepare the goods whenever you want. If Senior Dong Yang happens to have time, how about we meet at the Vientiane Chamber of Commerce 3 days later? 3 days later? Sure. Then I'll have to trouble Brother Pak Hui to inform Senior Dong Yang. Jian Yun bowed to Xing Hui. Well, you come from a business family. I want to ask you, how can I contact Sword Master Bai Heng? Sword Master Bai Heng of the Rainbow Sword Sect. Sword Master Bai Heng is still active on the front line of the Chaos Temple recently. I'll ask for you. Jian Yun's eyes lit up, and she hurriedly said. Soon, Jian Yun already had news. The Rainbow Sword Sect also has a public branch in the Chaos Temple. Brother Pak Hui can use this technique to enter the Rainbow Sword Sect's window that specializes in selling goods and cultivation techniques. But because the Rainbow Sword Sect doesn't cooperate with the Void Walkers, unless it's a highly profitable transaction, they are not responsible for the delivery of goods. They usually only sell cultivation techniques, sword techniques, and other things. Okay, thank you. You're welcome. We should be thanking Brother Pak Hui. If you have such good business in the future, don't forget us. This is my contact method in the Chaos Temple. And mine. Brother Pak Hui, please take care of us. The others also hurriedly came forward and gave their contact methods. Xing Hui memorized these techniques one by one. Although the level of chaos of these people was not high, their circle together was a force that should not be underestimated. At least in the future, if Xing Hui wants to buy any treasures for cultivation, he will have a much wider channel than the Galaxy Chamber of Commerce alone. After the crowd left, Xing Hui did not waste any time. After exiting his personal space, he pinched a technique and soon appeared at the foot of a magnificent mountain. The Rainbow Sword Sect, as one of the forces of the One Temple, 3 sects, 6 religions, and 9 sects of Heaven Wasteland domain, was also a colossus. Just like the personal space in front of him, Xing Hui estimated that it should be more than 100,000 meters in area, which meant that it must be a personal space of the 5th order or above. However, the person who possessed such a personal space must have a distinguished status in the Rainbow Sword Sect, so they would not easily send down a transformation technique to deliver goods. Otherwise, if they were targeted and killed while he was using the transformation technique, it would be too late for regrets. That was why they announced to the public that they would not be responsible for delivering goods unless it was a highly profitable transaction. Xing Hui arrived at the foot of the mountain of the Rainbow Sword Sect. He could clearly see that there were many cultivators coming and going on the mountain peak. Most of these cultivators were people of the Rainbow Sword Sect, and only a few people were from outside the Rainbow Sword Sect. When Xing Hui looked up, he vaguely felt that there seemed to be an invisible force restricting them from climbing the mountain peak. Obviously, although the Rainbow Sword Sect had external business, the real purpose of this personal space was to provide transit for the internal members of the Rainbow Sword Sect. This gentleman is not a disciple of our Rainbow Sword Sect, right? May I know if there's anything I can help you with? Xing Hui looked at the foot of the mountain for a moment, and very soon, a young lady in a white dress with a sword hanging by her waist came up to welcome him. Back then, I made a deal with Sword Lord Bai Heng and purchased the Torch Sun Sutra's Immortality Realm cultivation technique from him. Now that my Immortality Realm cultivation has reached the consummation realm, I'm here to look for Sword Lord Bai Heng. I hope to learn the Torch Sun Sutra's Saint Six Dan cultivation technique from him. Ah. You wish to purchase the Saint Six Dan cultivation technique? You wish to purchase it all at once? Of course. Sir, you're truly an esteemed guest. Please come in, I'll help you make an appointment with Junior Granduncle Baiheng. The young lady replied happily. She quickly led Xinghui up the mountain peak, and soon, they arrived at a courtyard near the waist of the mountain. When they arrived at the courtyard, a graceful and elegant woman was already waiting for them. She nodded to the young lady and gestured with her hand, I am Guan Yun of the Rainbow Sword Sect's Welcoming Sword Terrace. May I know how I should address you? Pak Hui. Mr. Pak Hui, please come in. We've already informed Junior Sister Baiheng, and she's on her way. Junior Sister. Xinghui glanced at the woman in front of him. Although her cultivation wasn't weak, Xinghui estimated that she was at most at the Transcendent Realm, or even the True Energy Realm. With such a cultivation level, she actually addressed Sword Lord Baiheng as Junior Sister. However, Xinghui didn't go so far as to ask her about it. After thanking her for her trouble, he followed her into the guest courtyard. There weren't any snacks or tea in the guest courtyard, but there was a stick of dragon soul incense, which refreshed one's mind. Mr. Pak Hui looks extremely young. To be able to cultivate the Torch Sun Sutra's Immortality Realm cultivation technique at such a young age and even come here to purchase a Saint Six Dan cultivation technique, you're truly overflowing with talent. Even in the entire Rainbow Sword sect, such a person is truly rare. May I ask where Mr.'s master is? As Guan Yun spoke, she hurriedly added, of course, if it's not convenient for Mr. to say, it's fine. Although I'm indebted to the guidance of all the seniors here, I don't have a true master. This is also the reason why I've come to your esteemed sect to purchase the Torch Sun Sutra's cultivation technique. You don't have a master? Guan Yun couldn't help but be moved when she heard this, and she hurriedly said, may I know if Mr. Pak Hui is interested in joining our Rainbow Sword sect? Our Rainbow Sword sect has always attached great importance to a genius like Mr. Pak Hui who's able to cultivate the Torch Sun Sutra. If Mr. is able to maintain the momentum of your cultivation and stand out from the rest, it wouldn't be difficult for you to become Junior Sister Baiheng's disciple in the future. After all, Junior Sister Baiheng is one of the 3 supreme experts of our Rainbow Sword sect. If Mr. becomes her disciple, Mr. Pak Hui's future cultivation will definitely be smooth. Chapter 399. Join the White Rainbow Sword sect. Xinghui was taken aback for a moment before he shook his head. I'm not in the Infinite Wasteland region right now and I'm far away from the sea. I'm afraid I won't be able to come to the Infinite Wasteland region anytime soon. Is that so? There was a trace of regret on Guan Yun's face when she heard this. Then, when Mr. Bai Su comes to the Heaven Wasteland domain and wants to join a sect, you might as well carefully consider our Rainbow Sword sect. Although the relationship between you and Junior Sister Baiheng is only a transaction, but there is also a trace of master-disciple relationship between the two of you. This is where the fate between you and our Rainbow Sword sect lies. I hope that this fate between the two of us can continue in the future. I hope so too. Xinghui said. Guan Yun and Xinghui chatted for a while before a figure appeared in the room. She was dressed in white and her long hair fluttered in the wind. It was Baiheng. Junior Sister, you're here. Seeing Sword Master Baiheng appear, Guan Yun hurriedly stood up and looked at him with a trace of admiration in her eyes. Senior Sister. Baiheng said as she looked at Xinghui. You're my deal partner? Yes. Xinghui looked at Baiheng. Any cultivator's true appearance would be slightly different from the one in the Chaos Temple. Sword Master Baiheng was definitely the same. However, even in the Chaos Temple, Sword Master Baiheng still had his bright eyes, white teeth, white skin, and jade bones. He gave off a feeling of purity under the cold moonlight. The new moon was like a beautiful woman, showing its first colors out of the sea. Back then, I had a deal with Baiheng and obtained the illuminating sun true scripture, inheritance of the 6th level of the longevity realm. I'm here in hopes of purchasing the 6th level of the Saint Realm cultivation technique from Bai Heng. Okay. Bai Heng nodded slightly. The 6th level of the Saint Realm cultivation technique has a total of 110 Tao rhythms. I've already prepared everything. There have been undercurrents surging in Heaven Wasteland domain recently. Even though we, the Rainbow Sword sect, have always kept to ourselves and did not make enemies with others, we still have to take precautions. Therefore, it is not appropriate for me to use my incarnation technique and travel far away for the time being. When the time comes, I will ask an elder of the sect to come forward and trade the Illuminating Sun Sutra with you. Xing Hui couldn't help but be slightly startled when he heard this. After a while, he reiterated, I hope to be able to trade with Sword Master Bai Heng personally. Deal in person, Sword Master Bai Heng muttered to himself, since Mr. Pak Hui requested it, then, junior sister, the level of your incarnation technique is not high. If it was during peaceful times, the White Rainbow Sword sect would not have to worry as long as we do not offend others. However, now that the 3 great organizations of chaos in the Heaven Wasteland domain are ready to make a move and have the potential to dominate the Heaven Wasteland domain, even the 1 hall, the 3 sects, the 6 schools, and the 9 sects have begun to choose sides. As one of the 9 sects, our White Rainbow Sword sect's every move is closely watched. If someone were to plot against the White Rainbow Sword sect when you descend. Guan Yun was a little hesitant. It doesn't matter. Although there is a storm in the Heaven Wasteland domain, it is still the beginning of the rise of dragons and snakes, and there is no guarantee that a real war will break out. I will leave very quickly, and my real body will stay in the White Rainbow Sword sect. With the protection of the 2 ancestors, I will be fine. As Sword Master Bai Heng spoke, his gaze turned to Xing Hui, Mr. Pak Hui, please give me your spiritual imprint, I will descend in 3 hours. Thank you, Sword Master Bai Heng. Xing Hui said, handing over his spiritual imprint. It was reasonable for Sword Master Bai Heng to make a special trip to the Heaven Wasteland domain since it involved 110 Tao rhythms. After discussing the deal, Xing Hui did not dare to let Sword Master Bai Heng descend his incarnation in the Hunyuan Heaven sect, and immediately stepped out of the training room on Qinglan Peak. Elder Xing Hui. Outside the training room, a woman and a man around 30 years old were guarding him. The woman's cultivation was lower, only in the spirit refining realm, while the man was at the peak of the spirit chi unity realm. Seeing Xing Hui, the 2 were slightly startled and hurriedly stepped forward to salute. Greetings, Elder Xing Hui. Xing Hui nodded to the 2 and was about to leave when he seemed to recognize the woman's identity. So it's Princess Lan Yu? You have already reached the spirit refining realm, congratulations. The woman was Princess Lan Yu of the Wei Hai Kingdom, who had traveled with Xing Hui on the Fengyun Airlines warship. Seeing that Qing Su still remembered her, Princess Lan Yu felt rather flattered. It's all thanks to the Tianping Traversal Saint technique that the great elder Qing Su bestowed upon me. If it weren't for that saint technique and senior sister Nalan's care, I wouldn't have been able to achieve what I have today. Cultivate well and assist Nalan Fei wholeheartedly. In the future, your achievements will definitely not stop at the spirit refining realm. Yes, Lan Yu will definitely remember. Qing Su nodded. With a leap, he shot off into the air. Tang Sun and Yuan Bei, who were standing guard outside, hurriedly went forward to greet him. Watching Xing Hui conversing with Tang Sun and Yuan Bei, a trace of envy flashed across the eyes of the spirit and chi unity stage expert who had sided with Nalan Fei. As expected of our Hunyuan Heaven sect's most legendary Grand Elder. To think that he can chat so humorously with 2 Grand Elders. If there comes a day when I can converse with such a great figure, I will have no regrets even if I die. Princess Lan Yu's eyes glinted as she watched Xing Hui leave on his sword after conversing with the 2 Grand Elders. The scene of her meeting with Xing Hui surfaced in her mind. Speaking of which, junior sister Lan Yu, you are acquainted with Grand Elder Xing Hui and were even given a saint technique by Grand Elder Xing Hui? What a great opportunity. I've never heard you mention this before. As the Spirit and Qi Unity stage expert spoke, her eyes were filled with envy as she looked at Princess Lan Yu. That was a very long time ago. I never thought that the great elder of Qing Su would still remember a nobody like me with your current status, Jian Qin said with a smile. How about you tell me about it? I'm very curious about our Hunyuan Heaven Sect's legendary Grand Elder. The Spirit and Qi Unity stage middle-aged woman and Princess Lan Yu soon began chatting. The person they were talking to, Tsing Hui, had already left the Hunyuan Heaven Sect on his sword and was flying towards the Cloud Wilderness mountain range at his fastest speed. He had the grade 9 flying sword, flowing fire, and had already condensed his origin energy and stepped into the Saint stage. At full speed, he was unbelievably fast and did not need to worry about being followed. After flying for a while, 6 hours later, the endless cloud desolate mountain range was already in front of him. Estimating that Sword Master Bai Heng's clone should be arriving soon, Tsing Hui chose an open space that was easier to block from sight and quietly waited. He did not have to wait for too long. In just a few dozen seconds, Qing Su's heart skipped a beat. In the next moment, the energy of the world in the space before him had already condensed under the control of an invisible power. Before long, Sword Master Bai Heng gradually appeared in his white robes, just like how he appeared in the chaotic divine hall. Although the appearance was exactly the same, compared to the appearance in the Chaos Temple, Sword Master Bai Heng in the real world was clearly more vivid and lively. Even if she looked as bright as the autumn moon and had a quiet and serene temperament, she gave people the feeling that as long as she smiled sweetly, 10,000 flowers would pale in comparison. Unfortunately, that kind of colorful scene seemed destined to only be left for the people closest to her. Sword Master Bai Heng. You're Pak Hui. Sword Master Bai Heng looked at Tsing Hui and actually had some impression of him. His beautiful and fair face had a trace of surprise. If I remember correctly, you exchanged the Torch Sun Sutra with me 6 or 7 years ago. I didn't expect Sword Master Bai Heng to still remember. It was indeed 6 or 7 years ago. At that time, Sword Master Bai Heng took a fancy to me and even gave me a sword technique called the Sun Glory. Sun Glory. Sword Master Bai Heng nodded and did not continue this topic. Prepare the inheritance. Tsing Hui immediately took out the item that contained 110 Taoist rhymes. Sword Master Bai Heng did not hesitate and quickly absorbed the item that contained 110 Taoist rhymes. Then, he nodded. Immediately, Tsing Hui focused his mind and calmed his breathing. The moment he focused his mind, a brilliant pressure suddenly appeared and entered Tsing Hui's spiritual world with a vast and suffocating force. The moment Tsing Hui came into contact with this vast and mighty force, he could clearly feel the endless divine light emitted by this force and the mysterious figure that belonged to the torch dragon that appeared for a fleeting moment in the divine light. With the injection of this force, the profundities of the first level of the Saint Realm, the second level of the transformative stage, the third level of the eternal stage, the fourth level of the golden core stage, the fifth level of the Abhijna stage, and the sixth level of the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth appeared in his mind one by one. They displayed endless profundities and caused the torch dragon's divine soul in his spiritual world to roar to the heavens. It also activated the Golden Crow bloodline in his spiritual world, causing the blazing sun that belonged to the Golden Crow bloodline in his spiritual world to emit endless light. It reflected the divine light that was carried by Sword Master Bai Heng's consciousness inheritance. After the Torch Sun Sutra, first to sixth levels of the Saint Realm circulated in Tsing Hui's mind, Tsing Hui already understood these techniques in his heart. Not only that, but through Sword Master Bai Heng's comprehension of the Torch Sun Sutra, he had a new understanding of how to condense the true Yuan from the Torch Sun Sutra. He even had a feeling that, at this time, if he was willing to swallow the Torch Dragon's blood essence, he would be able to smoothly step into the true Yuan stage and catch up with the Golden Crow bloodline. I didn't expect you to still cultivate the Golden Crow bloodline, and have cultivated the Golden Crow bloodline to the true Yuan stage before the Torch Dragon bloodline. It's extremely rare to cultivate two bloodlines at the same time and reach the divine grade in both bloodlines. Sword Master Bai Heng's voice echoed in Tsing Hui's ears. It's just an opportunity. Xing Hui said. How's the progress of your Sword of the Sun Glory cultivation? Xing Hui seemed to hear Sword Master Bai Heng's intention to give him pointers on the Sword of the Sun Glory, but thinking of the Sword of the Sun Glory, he said, speaking of the Sword of the Sun Glory, recently I have a new understanding of the Sword of the Sun Glory. Although I have not cultivated this sword technique to perfection, I have a new idea for the next sword form. A new sword form? Yes, the new sword form can only be cultivated after the Sword of the Sun Glory has reached the great accomplishment stage. At present, I have only deduced one form, perhaps it cannot even be regarded as a beginner. It can only be said to be a theory. I call this sword form Sun Glory, please appraise it. Chapter 400. Sun Burst. Boom. The moment Xing Hui finished his words, a dazzling light suddenly bloomed. Even though Qing Su had controlled his power when he slashed out, only compressing it to the level of true qi, the strike still shone with dazzling light the moment it was unleashed. Within the light, the two glorious sun swords seemed to collide with each other and fuse together when they were about to strike their target. The moment the two glorious sun swords collided and formed a completely new power, endless light immediately erupted. At that moment, all the trees, plants, and flowers within 100 meters were swept away by a destructive force, rapidly dispersing into nothingness. Scorching streams of light surged outwards, reaching a radius of several hundred meters. One must know that Xing Hui had only used the strength of the true qi realm. But the attack of the true qi realm was actually not inferior to the full strength of a peak spirit refining realm cultivator. From this, one could see how mysterious the power of the sword was. Who? Qing Su let out a gentle sigh. He looked at the burning trees and said, I'm sorry. I've only just derived this sword style through theory, so it's not complete yet. As a result, I can't control its power with great precision. The true qi realm is the limit of my control. If I use the power of the green darkness realm, I'll only be able to unleash all of my energy like the sword of the sun. I can't guarantee its power. As for the true qi, I still can't make the two swords of the sun condensed from true qi fuse together and create a fusion effect. Weng weng. As soon as Xing Hui finished speaking, a wave of aura that was not strong but contained a biting cold pressure spread out from Sword Master Bai Heng's body. The aura of Sword Master Bai Heng, who was originally an ordinary incarnation, rose to the true qi realm in the blink of an eye. The level of spirit she injected into this incarnation was comparable to Xing Hui's and even surpassed Xing Hui's. This was already a main battle incarnation. This sword technique, Sword Master Bai Heng recalled the sword technique Xing Hui had just displayed in his mind. A sharp sword condensed from essential qi had already appeared in his hand. Compared to Qing Su, Sword Master Bai Heng, who had created the Sword of the Glorious Sun, which was equivalent to cultivating the Sword of the Glorious Sun to great perfection, clearly understood the principles behind the Sword of the Glorious Sun better. However, it was one thing to have a thorough understanding of it, but it was another thing to be able to do it as easily as Xing Hui. She, who was in the Jinqi realm, had just tried to condense the Sword of the Glorious Sun. The next moment, the Sword of the Glorious Sun became extremely unstable and collapsed with a boom. Fortunately, Xing Hui reacted quickly. With a press of his hand, relying on his strong control of the qi of heaven and earth, the explosive power formed by the Sword of the Glorious Sun had been compressed into a blazing ball of fire by him, and then quickly dissipated. How did you do it? I simulated the sun to create the Sword of the Glorious Sun, but the power of the Sword of the Glorious Sun depends on its instability. It is this instability that allows the Sword of the Glorious Sun to erupt with power that is far beyond the current realm. But you can actually stabilize the Sword of the Glorious Sun and form two Swords of the Glorious Sun at the same time. Sword Master Bai Heng probed, looking curiously at Xing Hui. Although you simulated the power of the Great Sun, what you saw was only the appearance of the power of the Great Sun, and you did not understand the principle of the formation of the power of the Great Sun. Your sword of the glorious sun, in another way, is called the fission reaction. It detonates the power in the body through a special method, splitting one part into 2, 3 parts, or even more, thus producing a terrifying power that is far beyond ordinary attacks. However, because you do not understand the real reason for the fission reaction, you can only regard yourself as a fission reactor. Therefore, once the fission reaction occurs, you must pour out all the power. Otherwise, the fission power will detonate in your body, and the first one to die will be you. And I, because I understand the principle of the fission reaction, can rely on the special characteristics of the Golden Crow's spirit and the Golden Crow natural chi to form a fission reaction outside my body. Therefore, I can naturally control the power of the sword of the glorious sun, fission reaction. Regard myself as a fission reactor. What is that? And what is the sword that you deduced? Sword Master Bai Heng was a little confused. This was a brand new and unknown system. The sword technique that I've derived belongs to fusion. While the fission effect produces great power, it recombines and explodes with even greater power. If this sword technique can be derived to the extreme and perfectly control the effects of fission and fusion, it can form a cycle effect like a perpetual motion machine. It can form a true blazing sun that constantly releases endless light and heat. Fang Xingzhan's eyes lit up as he looked at the sword technique. Speaking of this, Xing Hui laughed. It will probably take a very long time for this effect to be truly realized. I have more or less understood the 3 stages of the transformative stage, the never-ending stage, and the Jindan stage, but these 3 stages should not have the ability to manifest a permanent blazing sun. However, starting from the Jindan stage, I can try to refine it into a fusion reactor. When I reach the transcendent stage, the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth, and even the dominion stage. Yes, the dominion stage, I will permanently integrate this artificial blazing sun into my domain, or, this blazing sun will be my domain. At that time, my idea will truly be realized. Sword Master Bai Heng looked at Qing Su, who was speaking frankly, with a sliver of surprise on his face. This young man in front of her was obviously only at the true energy stage, but he had already set his goal of reaching the dominion stage without any reservation, and had even completed the concept of his domain, but for some reason, yet, she actually believed it. If the person in front of her was an arrogant young man who only knew how to spout nonsense, then he was definitely the greatest liar of this century. After a long while, she organized her words and said softly, Mr. Pak Hui. I wonder if I can make a deal with you, to exchange the sword art that you deduced? Exchange this sword art. Xing Hui noticed the strange look in Sword Master Bai Heng's eyes and smiled. Sword Master Bai Heng, I am indebted to you for imparting the sword of the glorious sun to me back then, and it was also because of the inspiration from your sword of the glorious sun that I deduced the embryonic form of this sword art. In order to repay your kindness, I am willing to impart this sword art, as well as the related theories of fission and fusion, to you. If this sword art is really a sword art that can reach the dominion stage as you said, then it is too valuable. You also said that it has to be like what I said. Whether this sword art can turn into a dominion of the sun as I deduced, and produce endless power through fusion, someone has to try it out personally. Sword Master Bai Heng, as an expert of the saint stage who has condensed a dominion, if you can verify my theory for me and point out the flaws of this sword art theory for me in the future, wouldn't it be a win-win situation? I understand. Sword Master Bai Heng nodded. Please enlighten me. I will directly condense a sword will and impart it to you. As Xing Hui spoke, he stretched out his hand and tapped the space between Sword Master Bai Heng's eyebrows. Sword Master Bai Heng wanted to retreat, but after a while, he realized something and steadied himself. For a moment, the sword wills intersected, and Xing Hui felt a vast and majestic will that was like an endless ocean surging toward him. This will was so powerful that it seemed to be able to distort the world and affect the worldview and consciousness of other cultivators. Not long after Xing Hui's sword will penetrated into it, he felt as if he was being affected by Sword Master Bai Heng's sword will. This sword will, Xing Hui's spirit was suddenly shaken, and in the next moment, he quickly sped up the output of his understanding of fission and fusion. Since Sword Master Bai Heng's consciousness was powerful, he did not have to worry that she would be injured even if he was a little rough. However, just as he was about to return after imparting his sword will, Sword Master Bai Heng's sword will moved slightly. At the next moment, a mysterious force followed Xing Hui's sword will and rushed into his spiritual world. Then, it spread abruptly in his spiritual world. Suddenly, it was as if hundreds and thousands of Sword Master Bai Heng's silhouettes appeared in his spiritual world, revealing the process of her continuous sword practice, sword cultivation, and sword comprehension throughout her life. Throughout the process, what surprised Xing Hui the most was her understanding of sword will. She had practiced swordsmanship for 3 years. Under the autumn moon, she had placed her thoughts on others and comprehended sword will. She had practiced swordsmanship for 36 years. She had encountered a calamity and passed away her parents. She was heartbroken and had achieved great success in her sword will. She had practiced swordsmanship for 84 years. She had sensed the changes in the world, yin and yang, the changes in the sun and the moon, and the cycle repeated itself. Her sword will had reached perfection. She had comprehended swordsmanship for 104 years. Her sword had transformed into the sun and developed the universe within it. Her sword momentum had taken shape. I've activated a secret technique here that can isolate ordinary people from sensing. I'll help you with my sword will. I hope that you'll reach perfection soon. Vaguely, there seemed to be some lingering words left behind by Sword Master Bai Heng in his spiritual world. Unfortunately, Xing Hui was already immersed in comprehending Sword Master Bai Heng's sword will. He could not tell if these words were left behind by Sword Master Bai Heng or if they came from the influence left behind by Sword Master Bai Heng's sword will. At this moment, he was doing his best to comprehend Sword Master Bai Heng's sword will. As he continued to comprehend, he gradually understood his own sword will and understood the true essence of his sword will. Sword will. What was sword will? The so-called sword intent was, in fact, a representation derived from idealism to the extreme. Through one's beliefs, one could influence, change, and destroy other people's beliefs. Sword will that was cultivated to the peak could even easily influence other people's worldview and cause their worldview to collapse. If sword will could transform into a sword momentum of a higher level, it would be so terrifying that it could partially influence materialism through idealism. To put it simply, one could use one's will to influence the outside world. This kind of influence was not as simple as sword kinesis or object manipulation, but, under the premise that it was compatible with one's sword will and could trigger a resonance with the sword will, he believed that the ordinary iron sword in his hand was a peerless divine weapon that could destroy everything. Then, this ordinary iron sword would become a true peerless divine weapon that could destroy gold and jade. He believed that this sword had a life and could transform into a human to come to life. This sword would truly come to life and give birth to a sword spirit. Create a life. This was the supreme realm of the sword force Tao. Chapter 401. The most fundamental point of martial will lies in the word faith. The faith of faith. One must have strong faith in order to condense one's own martial will, to comprehend the true essence of martial will, and to climb to the peak of martial will. Only by relying on this kind of unshakable martial Tao belief could he interfere with the operation of other people's wills and destroy their mental wills. So much so that after he transformed into a sword force in the future, he could use this kind of martial Tao belief and will to achieve the state of interfering with matter and the unseen laws. As for his martial will, his conviction, what was it? Xing Hui was confused and thought of the scene when he cultivated the Dongyang sword codex and the initial sword intent. How did he condense the sword intent? Passion. Yes, passion for swordsmanship. At first, he joined the Dongyang sword sect because he was in love with senior sister Jiang Ningji. He was fascinated by Jiang Ningji's valiant appearance when she taught the disciples in the Dongyang sword school. Later, when he joined the Dongyang sword school, he found that he seemed to be strangely fascinated by swordsmanship. He enjoyed the joy of cultivating a new swordsmanship every day, enjoyed the carefree and unrestrained thrusts, enjoyed the fullness of the joy of practicing swordsmanship until his whole body ached, and enjoyed the achievement of a breakthrough in swordsmanship that was far from idling around. So, he was addicted. Then, relying on his outstanding talent in swordsmanship, he joined the Dongyang sword sect. Not only could he learn magical swordsmanship, but he could also accompany senior sister Jiang Ningji day and night. About 2 years after he joined the sect, one night when he was cultivating the Dongyang sword codex, he suddenly forgot himself and was completely immersed in every movement of the sword. After 1 day and 1 night, after he cultivated the swordsmanship, he unknowingly condensed the sword intent. Pure. At that time, the reason why he could condense the sword intent was pure. Purely because he liked practicing swordsmanship. Purely because he liked practicing swordsmanship. Purely because he liked comprehending swordsmanship. There was no other reason. Then, with a little opportunity, he naturally stepped into the door of condensing the sword intent and even made a name for himself as a sword saint. But now, danger lurked everywhere. The eastern wilderness and heaven wasteland were filled with endless dangers. Senior sister Jiang Ningji was also a hindrance, urging him to cultivate as soon as possible and return to Earth to reunite. What was even more despairing was that there was no such thing as a sword cultivator in this world. Awakening the bloodline of divine beasts and developing the power of divine beasts had become the mainstream of this world. If he continued to pour his energy into the cultivation of the Dongyang Sword Codex and tried to use it to comprehend sword essence, then no matter how strong his sword essence was and how it reached perfection, he would be easily crushed by cultivators who were far stronger than him. The Sword Dao legacy of this world, decisiveness. If any true swordsman, or swordsman continued to walk down the path of their swordsmanship, they would only end up like everyone else. Sword Dao Doomsday. There is no Sword Dao legacy in this world. There is no way to comprehend the sword, practice the sword, or cultivate the sword. It is simply a dead end. What I need now is incomparably powerful strength, to have the strength to shatter the vacuum and return to Earth. Therefore, in this world, I am destined not to be like the Dongyang sword sect on Earth, a true sword cultivator who truly loves and is devoted to the sword. All I can do is to continue on the cultivation system of this world, follow the cultivators of this world, and continue to cultivate my own bloodline power until one day I can return to Earth. Xing Hui muttered to himself. The next moment, the sword essence that he had painstakingly touched upon with the help of Sword Master Baiheng collapsed with a bang and fell back to the level of great success. As for this so-called great success sword intent, it could not be called a true sword essence. At best, it could only be regarded as a martial will that had the form of a sword. It was far from the true sword essence in Xing Hui's heart. Sword essence is not important to me now. What I want is powerful strength. Therefore, I don't need to give the so-called sword essence too high of a purpose and mission. It only needs to be able to let me step into the realm of shattering the vacuum. Xing Hui thought to himself and began to reshape his sword essence. However, although it was called sword essence, it was actually just a kind of martial will. Thinking of Sword Master Baiheng's experience of perfecting sword essence and evolving sword force, she had comprehended the Torch Dragon bloodline's ability to control the power of the sun and the moon through the rising of the sun and setting of the moon. Rather than saying that her sword essence was perfected, it was better to say that she had thoroughly comprehended the Torch Dragon's power and thus strengthened the Torch Dragon's powerful belief. Another example would be the transformation of the sword into the Great Sun and the development of the universe in the first level of sword force. Because she had once again comprehended the powerful Abhijna possessed by the Torch Dragon, she made it into a true Great Sun True God. Using the Great Sun True God to transform into the Great Sun, it caused the sword will to transform and develop into sword force. At the same time, it condensed into a domain. Her sword essence originated from the Torch Dragon bloodline. If one day, someone told her that the Torch Dragon did not exist in this world, or that the Torch Dragon was not what she imagined it to be, her sword essence would quickly collapse. a kind of martial will that is completely entrusted to the bloodline one cultivates. Then, since I cultivate the Torch Dragon bloodline and the Golden Crow bloodline, does my martial will also have to be entrusted to the Golden Crow or the Torch Dragon? How is this martial will different from the self-deception of aloft in the sky? Tsing Hui's brows were tightly knitted. However, how could he not cultivate? Everyone in the world cultivated like this. The only thing he could do was to go with the flow. Even if he knew that this martial will might be aloft in the sky and that as long as there was any problem with the Golden Crow or the Torch Dragon in his will, the sword essence that he had painstakingly cultivated for many years would completely collapse, what could he do without the true sword Tao? It was like when everyone in the world was a murderer, what else could he do other than become a murderer like everyone else? Even if he knew that this was wrong, he dared to point out these murderers and only death awaited him. I have no other choice, the true sword Tao has long been extinct. Tsing Hui was silent. After a long while, he had to refocus his mind. Since the path of true sword Tao had been cut off, then all he could do was rely on his divine beast bloodline to continue on the so-called sword Tao. Although the Torch Dragon bloodline has all kinds of magical powers, its combat strength is obviously too weak. Unfortunately, there are obvious traces of the sun in my sword essence. Even if I don't want to choose the Torch Dragon bloodline, I can only continue on this path. However, in the future, when the Golden Crow bloodline encounters a bottleneck, the idea of using the Torch Dragon bloodline to feed the Golden Crow bloodline to allow the Golden Crow bloodline to break through to a higher realm will be ruined. The Torch Dragon bloodline is linked to Sword Tao. If I really feed the Torch Dragon bloodline to the Golden Crow bloodline, my sword Tao will naturally collapse. Tsing Hui thought to himself. He had to rely on Sword Master Bai Heng's sword Tao and the cultivation method of the Torch Sun Sutra to derive the true sword Tao, hoping to perfect his sword Tao as soon as possible and prepare for the derivation of sword force in the future. After an hour, Tsing Hui stopped. He was silent. Not for now. The foundation of my sword Tao belongs to the true sword Tao, which is pure and sincere. Because of these foundations, if I want to conform to the cultivation system of this world to perfect my sword Tao, I have to corrode this sword Tao from its roots or even abolish it. The chaos war between the sky and the heavenly Tao is about to break out, and sword Tao also has the effect of stabilizing the spirit and strengthening the belief. Once I abolish the sword Tao that I have cultivated to great success and condense it again, it will take at least a few years to condense it again and cultivate it back to great success. Therefore, even if I want to abolish my sword Tao, I have to wait until the situation is more stable before I do it. Tsing Hui felt that the sword Tao that belonged to Sword Master Bai Heng in his spiritual world was gradually fading away, and he could not help but feel regretful. If it were not for this series of problems, he was afraid that this time, he would have naturally stepped into the perfect sword Tao, right? One had to know that only Almighties and Pinnacle Almighties could push their will to such a level. Some Almighties even retained their will in the realm of mastery. If he could complete his sword intent a day earlier, it would be of great assistance to his future cultivation. It's a waste of Sword Master Bai Heng's painstaking efforts. However, Sword Master Bai Heng has already set up a trap here, and ordinary people can't see the abnormality in this area at all. In addition, I have a new understanding of the cultivation of the Torch Dragon lineage, so I might as well directly refine the Torch Dragon blood essence here and push the Torch Sun Sutra to the true energy realm. When he thought up to this point, Qing Su did not waste any more time. He carefully went through the cultivation method of the 6th level of the Saint Realm in his mind. Based on Sword Master Bai Heng's comprehension of condensing qi and his own understanding, he quickly came up with an idea. The divine sense inheritance had a great impact on the cultivator. The advantage was that the inheritor could have a certain impression of these cultivation methods in his mind. Often, only the closest master and disciple would choose the divine sense inheritance method when imparting the cultivation method. This was also the reason why the cultivation methods sold by the great figures could be sold at such a high price. Tsing Hui observed for a while and waited for 3 days. After adjusting his essence, energy, and spirit to the peak, he began to condense the true energy in the Torch Sun Sutra without hesitation. Compared to the world-scorching art, the torch sun scripture was much more neutral and peaceful. Even though the torch dragon was also known as the great sun god, the power it possessed was vast and mysterious. It was not as violent and scorching as the golden crow's bloodline. Coupled with the fact that the cultivation methods of immortal-level green ruins and saints were the same, it was much easier for them to condense chi compared to the golden crow's bloodline. With the help of the torch dragon blood essence, he only took half a month to completely step into the true energy realm. Considering that he had already started cultivating anyway, Xinghui did not waste any more time and continued to focus on the remaining 3 portions of the golden crow blood essence. With the help of the true energy void technique, he swallowed the 3 portions of golden crow blood essence one by one and quickly refined them. Even though Qing Su had spent an entire 4 months to ensure that he could completely refine the energy within the 3 portions of essence blood without wasting any of it, his cultivation was still only at the peak of true essence when he completely refined all 3 portions of essence blood. He was still half a step away from truly reaching the great perfection of the transformative realm. I only need 1 more portion of golden crow blood essence. Even if I use half a month to refine this portion of golden crow blood essence and waste a part of it, it would be enough for me to step into the perfection stage of the true energy realm and then easily step into the perfection stage of the transformative realm. Unfortunately. Xinghui glanced at the remaining 19 Taoist instrument with a helpless expression. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.